Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Eli, Neil, Refracted Curvature, Righteous, Arwin, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Yeah, let's get going, baby.
Hello, good afternoon. Monday.
Don't mention the day. We want these videos to be timeless, Arwin. It is Monday, though, as Arwin's just
It's all
mentioned it.
Mondays, every 7 days, you know?
Well, surprisingly, people have the idea from Garfield that people hate Mondays, and it is not the case. You know, studies have shown that people resent Wednesdays, right, far more than Mondays. Because on a Monday, you've just had the weekend. You've got stuff to talk about, you've got all the excitement to share with the people that you haven't seen for a couple of days. So Mondays are actually quite uplifting for people. Tuesdays, you've still got a little bit of a remnants of the weekend left, and, you know, you're still fairly fresh for the week ahead. Come Wednesday, you've got bugger all to talk about. There's nothing that's been happening over the weekend that you haven't already told people about. You're miles away from the next weekend. So generally, people hit the lull on a Wednesday. Thursday, people are ready for the Friday that they can look forward to the weekend on, and it's getting near the end of the week. Wednesday is definitely not that. So Wednesday, that's when people hit the lull. Thursday and Friday, people are normally up for it.
But the greatest trick Tuesday ever pulled was to convince everyone that Wednesday was the bad one.
Tuesday's not a bad day. Nothing wrong with a Tuesday.
You're deceived, Nathan. You've been deceived by Tuesday.
Plenty of work gets done on a Tuesday. See how much work gets done on a Friday. Even in the pre-show, we were discussing about how the Irish are absolutely lazy as all hell and would rather worship Satan than work a Friday.
If we could get a half day on a Friday, we'd all be at the Church of Satan.
Indeed.
Half day on a Friday. Not that we'd all be the most staunch members, but we'd be there.
Indeedy do. Right, let's do a bit of housekeeping, joking aside. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope. Just
That sounds
angles.
like that.
Just what, Arwin?
Just angles. That's it.
You'll need a flat earth for those. Go ahead, John.
What makes you guys so arrogant that in the school books it has 93 million miles away? Now you're going to tell me that the school system, which teaches our children, is wrong?
Yes.
No, Neil, I'm not going to tell you it's wrong. I'm going to show you why it's wrong, and then you're going to not accept it.
Also a yes, but with a smart ass no starting it.
Well, the phrasing of the question requires a measurement. So how will it be measured? It should tell you that in the school book, right?
No,
I'm sure the people that put the books together knew what they were doing. All right, guys? You're on a freaking YouTube channel.
Occasionally they do. Occasionally the school books do include remnants of the discussion of how a flat plane will be needed and the transposition to equatorial planes and things of that nature might get discussed in what might be called a science class for high
That's
schoolers.
just because it's easier to measure that way.
But yeah, but we're the ones pointing out that measuring the Earth as flat is because it's flat. You can't measure an Earth to be flat if it isn't flat, and nothing that you measured thereafter would work if it wasn't flat when you measured it flat. So the overarching point in all of that, Neil, is that Earth is measured flat, and sometimes that does leak into high school education.
Well, the only point of the distance to the sun claim where a flat Earth was required was when they needed to hijack flat Earth elevation angles to Polaris to back engineer a mathematical globe out. After that, they just pre-assumed the globe and pre-assumed that Venus was also a sphere of equal size to the globe Earth that they back engineered from flat Earth elevation angles, and that when its transit in front of the sun, based off the sun's angular size, they could then determine how far away they were from the sun based off of the angular size of Venus, because they knew that Venus was the same size as the globe Earth that they back engineered from flat Earth elevation angles. And then they knew then the distance to the sun, because they could tell the distance between the sun and Venus. And they know the distance to Venus because they know the distance to the sun.
Perfect.
Right. But
Hold on. If that was under 30 seconds, that's going to become a shorts video. Kudos, Brian. That was epic.
But in the word transit, right? There's several hidden words. Hold on a sec.
Okay, so if I say, oh, he's gone. So that was juicy for him to just drop. So he's saying there's a few hidden words in the claim that Brian's just gone through will probably come a shorts video, unless that stammer in the middle makes it more than 60 seconds. I'll just edit it out. Don't worry. Anyway, what about transits? Oh, he's gone. We will never know, but I'm assuming you're going to need a flat Earth to assert the transit of Venus, to assert that gives you scaling values from Kepler, when Huygens assumed its value to be the same as the size of Earth, taken from elevation angle measurements to Polaris, as detailed by Brian so concisely a moment ago. But I'm sure we'll...
Well, he thought that's a transit, which would be an angular movement across in front of the sun. That'd be an angular situation.
But the transit, to describe the transit of Venus itself, requires a flat Earth because it's an angular description.
Well, I don't know, because it's in the sky. You're using an azimuth across the sky, so I don't know. The azimuth will be that's going to be flat, but do you know what I mean? But you're not referencing the surface of the Earth. You're just doing it from your position. So I could reference the azimuth between 2 points, 2 lighthouses in the distance. But I don't need to reference the Earth for that azimuth from my position.
Fair enough. Well, we didn't get there in one step.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, no, we'll find out from John when he returns, if we can remember the transit, because he had something to go along with it. He said they were telling. He just said you need a flat Earth for that. Perhaps he did, but he didn't. So maybe we'll find out when he gets back.
Maybe he was talking about 4 transits.
4 transits, like White Van Man transit.
Yeah.
Maybe he was. We'll find out when he returns, I'm sure. So transits are very telling, you say, John?
Oh, yeah. Well, not just transit, but also ratio, because they had to create those ratios from something, right?
You're talking about Kepler.
They used observation.
Hold on. Just so we're clear where we are in the story. You're talking about Kepler's development of this system.
Using the Keplerian elements.
Yeah.
3 of which, there's 3 of them.
Dun, dun, dun. To be continued. ... Right, let's go there. Oh, no, he's still here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were getting ready to say something. There's 3 Keplerian elements that require a flat plane.
Dun, dun, dun. To be continued.
Sorry.
We keep losing you when you tell us there's 3 Keplerian elements.
Right. To mathematically establish the transit and the ratios for that transit were built on those 3 Keplerian elements that require a flat plane.
And they are?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Hold on a sec. I'll tell you. I got it wrote down somewhere.
I'm sure we went through this from NASA about a month ago, didn't we? Didn't we have a 1980s NASA video that detailed these?
Yes. Yeah, that's where I wrote it down from.
Okay.
But
I'm just checking I know where you're going without giving the game away, because I didn't know quite where you're going. Now I do. Good.
Yeah. Hold on 1 minute.
No worries.
I'm not keeping the
While you're
records.
searching
Do
that,
you want to move on? I'll come
I was going to say,
back
I'll buy you some time with another housekeeping question. So, any scientific evidence of gravity?
That's in the school books too.
Well, yeah, the one in the school books is Newtonian, though, isn't it? That's a problem in and of itself. Is there any scientific evidence of, I don't know, bending space-time? Current gravity? No? No evidence?
There is scientific evidence for gravity. There is scientific evidence for gravity.
What's the scientific evidence of gravity?
Yeah, specific gravity. More correctly, its correct name. This is official. This is not me as a flat earther. Its correct name is relative density.
That's relative density disequilibrium relabeled as gravity, is it not?
Yeah, but it's one of the 5 gravities. So yes, there is scientific evidence of gravity, just not for the ones that they want it to be for.
Here's a question for you, Brian. Are these fill in the blanks corrections like specific gravity and the convolution with multiple gravities starting with Einsteinian versus Newtonian? Are they there because they realise the weakness in the rhetoric and need to dilute it, or are they disbanding the rhetoric, would you suggest? Is it failed already?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely failed. They know it's failed. For instance, right, just as an example, they placed their moon, right, at a perfect distance so that divergent light from that moon will give them the exact same shadows as the supposed parallel light from the sun, from their sun, right? Completely debunking the whole model. And the whole claim, based on the whole basis of the model, starts and ends with Eratosthenes' claim concerning parallel light in the sun. So why did they do that with the moon? Why is the moon that specific distance away? So the angles of the light, the divergent light that they are receiving from their moon, why does that moon give them the exact same angles as the parallel light from the sun? Because they realized that the whole thing is a farce. They realized that. And I have no doubt about it that the reason that specific gravity even exists as a name, specific gravity, because they realized that that's all that's going on. Density differentials between objects and substances and the medium they reside in. That's what specific gravity is. That's what buoyancy is. So yes,
it's like keeping the true story in amongst the nonsense stories, so that you can convolute it enough for no one to ever know what one particular description is true. But that only seems to serve a purpose in a failing rhetoric, as opposed to it doesn't cement any new foundations when you just, there's some government psyop that needs hiding. So what you do is you put out as many conspiracy theories as you possibly can with varying different stories of what might be, along with the truth. So even if somebody does get hold of the truth, there's so many other stories to pick from. It's like everyone shouting, "My name's Brian and so is my wife." You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They're not hiding the truth because it's out there in plain sight. I mean, they're not hiding the truth. They're just putting out a lot of stuff with the truth. And it's up to you whether you spot the truth or not. You know what I mean? That's about the size of it. They're not hiding it. It's right there. That's why they've called relative density specific gravity. And even so officially, you can read on Google, right? I only just recently I looked at it again. Right? That officially, its real name is relative density. More correctly called relative density. It's not funny. You know what I mean? It's like, why is that? Because they know. They know. I guarantee you, Einstein knew. Something showed him that all this mass attracting mass stuff was nonsense.
They had beer before Newton.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what this is. You put your hygrometer into your beer, don't you, to see how dense it is, and you put it in. Yeah, that's what it is, and that's so. Before Newton's made this innate force, people used the term the gravity of that, the specific gravity of fluids. Yeah, it's a known term before anybody's invented mass attracting mass. It's relating to how dense is that beer compared to just normal water. What's its specific gravity? What is its relative density as a descriptor of a fraction of water's relative density? That's what specific gravity is, has been, always was.
Yeah, don't be questioning.
Yes, let me back up Adam on that.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't be questioning my men here on this panel when it comes to booze. We know what we are talking about.
I'm right, Nathan, you see, expert, subject matter expert.
So am I. I'm definitely a PhD in that. But
I'm basically teetotal. No, I don't drink at all.
You don't need to. We know all about it. If you want to know about it, I'll tell you about it, or Adam will.
But don't tell the audience about my crack problem. They don't need to hear about that.
But let me back up Adam there. What a lot of people fail to recognise is that Isaac Newton wrote his Principia Mathematica. Now, he didn't. This is the one he wrote. I don't care about what other nonsense translations happened afterwards. His Principia Mathematica that he wrote was written in Latin. And in Latin, gravitas means heavy or weight. It doesn't mean a force giving weight to something. It's a description of something. It's gravitas. It's heavy or weight. It has gravitas. And the word massa means an accumulation of stuff or matter, right? Not something that's given weight by a force of gravity, right? So when you relate massa and gravitas to specific gravity, they work perfect. You try relating massa and gravitas, which were used in Newton's Principia Mathematica. He wrote those exact words. He wrote it in Latin. You try relating them to a force of attraction between masses and see how far you get. Adam is correct.
Right. Okay. Well, in the absence of refractive curvature, we're going to cover a video. If that's all good by you lot. So this has been provided today by Paul. So thank you very much to Paul for providing today's video, which is actually produced by the PolarSaurus. I hope I'm saying this right. PolarSaurusRex. There you go. Great name. So yeah, check him out. I'm going to put a link to the video that we're covering in the live stream chat, so you can let this particular videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So leave him a comment, leave him some algorithmic love, where we as flat earthers receive none. So the idea being that this lovely chappie, were he to respond to our comments in respect to his video and comments about flat earth, were he to make a response, hopefully he'd put a link to our video, which is to say he'd put a link to the Nathan Oakley 1980 YouTube channel, shout us out, and offer us some support where we don't get any from YouTube. So we can only assume that by offering him an extension of love via the link going by in the comments now, and my very dedicated and faithful audience going along to his channel and this video to say at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, will obviously help him in the algorithm. Give him some comments, give him some love, give him some views. That's what it's all about, right? Hopefully that would come back our way. So hopefully that's bought enough time while I've been waffling about letting him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. People to actually have clicked on his link, gone to his video, and let him know prior to us actually getting into the nitty gritty of what he says about flat Earth and the ice wall theories, which is the name of this video.
This fucking guy.
I've been waffling long enough for Neil to interject. Do you know who this is, Neil?
Brilliant.
Go on, Neil, go ahead. Feel free to express your disdain.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even know I was off mute.
Oh, were you talking about some other driver on the road then, not the videographer we're about to cover?
I have something to say before we get started. I just want to say that when it came to proving these claims, refractive curvature ran off.
That happened last week, didn't it? You guys got very passionate about something. I can't even remember what. And then who was it? AI came in and started calling him names and saying, you know, my boy is not going to get away with that and stuff like that. It got very heated very quickly. I suspected it would happen to the point where I told the audience to share as a result of it. I knew what was coming.
My favorite
that was
bit
uncalled
his
for.
kids. When I'm trying to give a rebuttal, and his kid went,
Yes.
that was
brilliant.
Got a raspberry from the background on mics that were open at the wrong moment.
And hold
Very
on,
amusing.
Adam, let me ask you a question. Was he was calling you as a baller dishonest? I don't think he was calling you personally outright dishonest, was he?
Doesn't matter. Lies don't pass my lips. So even when I'm a baller, on both days, I never lied once. I was very selective in the arguments I had so I could have the argument, but never once did I misrepresent any truth.
I'm 100% with Adam on this.
I'd have to
I'm
listen.
You
on
weren't even
that
being
side. I'm on Adam's
deceptive a
side
little
in that
bit?
whole thing.
No,
So
I'm
you
that
won't-
much
Hold
of
on, Neil.
a sod. I was being honest, Neil.
Right.
Well, every single point I was arguing truthfully about that specific thing, which I was not lying about, be it a line or what a curve or whatever we were talking about. I think we were talking about the order of dissection, weren't we?
Okay,
But
right, before you carry on, my bad. I'll have to tell the audience which show we're talking about and what this was. So I've got to be honest. A lot of the time, I couldn't keep up with the level of discussion. So I'm not embarrassed to say that I couldn't keep up. There are high level intellects discussing high level subject matters and intricate, as Adam put it, pretty geeky details within those subject matters and nuances about you're going to need a flat Earth for that get let's say ironed out in those sorts of discussions. But it includes people who know their stuff and know the point that they're trying to make. And for whatever reason, the communication isn't coming across between the two sides who've both got a point to make that they both see as valid. And before long, it turns into, no, well, that's just deceitful to put it in that way. And Adam's response, as you've just heard, no, I carefully picked my words, so I was not dishonest, even as a baller. So go back and listen. It's 2002, the show. Got pretty spicy pretty quickly, but high level of discussion. So I will be listening back when that comes out for the public. I'll be in the chat. You'll see me there. I think it comes out today, actually, on my second channel. Subscribe today to my own channel, which is the second channel, Nathan Oakley channel, just Nathan space Oakley. And that's where you get the uncut and after show if you're not a member. So it comes out a few days later, as you can probably tell, as we're talking about a show from last week. But that, I think, comes out today at 9 p.m. UK, whatever time that is in the States. So yeah, check it out. About 2 or 3
I don't know
PM.
why I'm not a member yet. Usually by now, somebody buys me a membership.
Based on how much time you spend in the chat. So if someone's gifting memberships and you're not a frequent chat participant, you won't get that free membership. So there you go. Should be chatting more, maybe. Anyway, Paula, you're in our chat. So you got brought up in the pre-show, Paula, in respect to your opinions. Sorry to put you on the spot, as you're just moderating the chat happily and not expecting to be asked any questions. Just generally what your opinions would be in regards to Flat Earth debate, if it was viewed through the lens of a Christian meeting, perhaps even taking place in a church, to have vigorous discussion. Obviously, without the swearing and my general disdain for people who do things that I feel they shouldn't. But if you exclude that particular aspect of it, which I'm sure you can do, you've got, enough rose-tinted glasses for the show to be able to do that, thank God. But yeah, we wanted to know what your thoughts are from a purely Christian perspective about the discussion that we have on the live show about Flat Earth and how that would be directly beneficial to a Christian way of viewing. Maybe you can phrase this better for me, Neil, because you were the one who brought this up. Thank you, Neil.
Paula, should they, well, you got to give me a chance to get off mute. I'm driving. Should they be debating flat earth debate during a church service? Because as far as I can remember, that's how the Reformation started. And that's what the original church was. They got together and they reasoned together how Jesus is Messiah.
You're giving him all the information that's needed. This is coming off the back of the Odell guy and whoever he was debating, which took place in a church, and we were cross-referencing that with Danny Faulkner, who had his I'll let Brian do it. His angles from hell in that
The
church.
devil's angles.
The devil's angles, right? And my attitude was, it matters not what the venue is, right? And John pointed out that if you're in a church, that is the people, if you're talking about the Christian fellowship as opposed to a temple where it is specifically the building for worship. You know, it's a metaphor in the Christian religion. It's not about the building. Therefore, the venue doesn't matter. But my question is more specifically about, you know, how Christians would take to this discussion purely as a Christian, specifically as a Christian, for benefit of their Christian faith when listening to Flat Earth debate. I'm intrigued. But now you've got the full background of what was discussion. You don't even have to watch the pre-show now when it comes out in a few days' time on the second channel, which you will. Anyway, that's enough bibble babble because we were going to cover a video. Pardon?
Paula's responded. I agree with her. It would be debate during a service would be inappropriate, of course, but somewhere it should happen. I agree. You have the service, and then you can have, and we, you know, Sunday school and stuff like that. You'd still have time where you would have fellowship, nothing planned, just discuss certain things. I just wonder, looking at some of the things I've seen, whether it'd turn into violence. They seem a bit tasty, these Christian flat Earth gigs. Get a bit heated.
Outrageous.
And, wow. When he chased off stage, one of the bastards.
Don't swear. Well, it's not necessarily, but you know, they're empowered. We discussed in the pre-show about Jesus turning over tables in the temple, the den of thieves. Anyway, let's do this video.
Well, I personally believe the.
Oh. Go on, Brian.
I know, I'm just saying that, just to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. I don't know. I have no horse on the race. Don't mind me.
Fair enough.
Earth is not flat, because I'm not a flat earther. But if you are a flat earther, I'm going to say a few things about why I don't think it's true. And you
Okay, we will listen.
can let me know down below, since you know more about
We'll let you know live.
the theory than I do. And I'll read it. You can let
So did you say because you know more about the theory than I do? This isn't flat theory. It's not
But he
theory.
doesn't think it's flat.
Oh, come on. That sounds like a guy just investigating. I'm going to give my opinion there, and you can educate me. That sounded quite a genuine person who's a newbie. I don't know who he is, but sounds like he's just approaching the subject, and that sounded fairly genuine. It doesn't sound
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Sounded familiar too, didn't it?
I know what might come. Just saying it.
For anybody who's new here, the amount of people that have come in to this discussion via the Discord link or back in the day when it was the G Plus link and told us that they are, quote, just here to learn. And they end up shouting us down when they're listening to the education that they refuse to take on board because it's too painful because it relinquishes their globe faith. When they're steadfast in their globe faith, and know damn well that they're definitely living on a globe, he's already stated it, then they'll say, yeah, but obviously I'm willing to learn. It's condescending is what it is. Because he's already made up his mind. So what is there to learn? I'm a very open-minded person, says the closed-minded zealot. He's already decided that this is wrong. But what, you can educate me in my comment section? Like I say, no, we'll do it live.
Let me know down below. You know, you can listen to what I have to say and why I don't believe it's true. And then you can tell me down below.
No, we're definitely not going to be exercising our beliefs in that regard. We'll tell you how it is.
I'll actually read it. I'll actually hear you out.
You go, girl. You tell him.
We don't. Right, go on.
No, you tell him.
Yeah, I don't hold any beliefs about whether it's flat or a globe. I know it's not a globe because I know it's a flat plane. I don't have to have a belief about it. We don't need beliefs. We don't have them. We have knowing or not knowing. That's all we have. We know the earth is flat. We don't know what the sky is.
Yeah, bang on.
Wow, we're not just taking a look at the flat earth theory, though. We're also taking a look
He's saying flat earth theory. You don't know what a theory is.
at the ice wall theory.
Well, he's wrong.
Which
with
is-
it.
Ice wall theory. By theory, he means colloquial musings based on
Yeah.
feast and nonsense.
No, he means conspiracy theory. It says here, look, I've looked at lots of conspiracy theories on this channel, but haven't really ever spoken about the flat Earth or the ice wall conspiracy theories. When he's saying theory, he means conspiracy theory, both in relation to flat Earth and ice walls.
Okay, well, here we deal with science. So when we say theory, and in this realm, we are dealing specifically with physics. We're talking about the physics of the world, the physical nature of the reality we inhabit. Therefore, when we say theory, it automatically means scientific theory, based on physics, based on the physical and natural world. If you're talking about ice walls or the world full stop, that's physics.
Yeah, well, it's not a conspiracy and it's not a theory. Let me just elaborate on that. It can't be a conspiracy when you actually walk outside your door and experience the Earth, right? That's not a conspiracy that they're hiding that from you. You're looking at it and experiencing it. Now, they may have indoctrinated you, and the people who indoctrinated you were indoctrinated themselves, blah, 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 blah. So it's not as if there was never lawyers involved. I'm just saying it's not a conspiracy that they're hiding it from you. They're not. So it's not a conspiracy, right? It's measurably. It's measurable, right? That's not a conspiracy.
Right.
And it's not a theory.
Clarify.
We have measurements.
Just one
We
second.
have measurements.
Yes, it's not a conspiracy when you're talking about measuring Earth flat. It's so devoid of being conspiratorial. It's pure projection. There is a conspiracy. Men have conspired to make other men believe they stand on a sphere. That is unequivocally a conspiracy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's the heliocentric model that's the conspiracy theory.
Exactly. I mean, how can a measurement be a theory? So a measurement can't be a conspiracy and it can't be a theory. We have measurements, and we have daily measurements, 10,000 measurements a day, commercial flight. Then off flight. Then it's not a conspiracy and it's not a theory. It's just a fact.
Well, yeah, but people have conspired to deceive the true nature of Earth. So,
And they've done a bang-up job of it.
yeah.
I was just going to say that, Brian. You got to take your hats off to them because they have it all twisted. Like flat Earth is the conspiracy.
They took their time.
It's the Hillary Clinton approach, isn't it? Just accuse your opponents of that which you are doing.
Suggests there is a huge ice wall surrounding the planet that we know, the world that we know.
Well, that's a crazy notion in and of itself, because the planet has come from flat Earth elevation angle measurements. So to have an ice wall around a planet makes absolutely no sense. An ice wall around a reification that's come from flat Earth? That phraseology is awful.
And beyond that, there's...
Yeah, but he knows, right?
Come again? Come again, Neil?
That he knows. That's the world that he knows. That's what he was taught in school, right?
Yes.
Well,
Fuck no.
if you have an ice wall around a planet, would that be like a comet belt?
No, I think he's just
Like an ice ring
misspoken.
piece.
He's just using the word planet for land masses there, isn't it? Because he's trying to say that we've got all the land masses, but they're just surrounded by an ice wall. But he's misspoken, and like we do, and use the word planet when referring to the Earth.
No, that just shows what I've already said when I said that his condescension to flat earthers by suggesting that he's here to learn, when he's already got both linguistic and obvious biases in his videography and the title itself towards his affirmation of the globe. Now, in his pure linguistic demonstration in this example, he's saying ice ring around a globe. Why? Well, because it's going to be a globe in all examples. How can he wrap his head around ice ring around a flat earth in the feast of nonsense regurgitation that we have to battle against by stereotype? But as he cognitively phrased that, well, it's ice ring around a planet. Letting it leak out his bias.
Sorry for stepping on you, Nathan. Yeah, absolutely. I noticed that. He wasn't able to say a ring around the Earth. He had to say the planet because he can't not say it. You're not going to wait. He's not able to allow it.
Can't even comprehend beyond the planet. That's the point.
There's a bunch of continents and all other things out there, all other life forms and stuff. Now, I think these two theories are separate. I don't think every flat earther believes that there is a ice wall and then a bunch of stuff beyond that. Though I am assuming that the average ice wall theory enjoyer believes that the Earth is flat.
Some kudos.
You ever seen the pictures? Probably
Kudos for what?
I don't believe that every flat earther thinks there's an ice wall. Well, actually, that's a point of distinction we make. So he's not as dumb. He's not. I'm not hearing a guy that's an anti-flat earther here. He's not necessarily wanting to call me dumb. He's wanting to know what's going off.
Okay.
I know
Type
I'm
in
too
the
nice
ice
to
wall.
people, but
You're an empath.
yeah, but
Well, you're not an
I
empath.
genuinely, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing a guy that don't know what he's on about. He's genuinely interested, and he's actually bothered to not stereotype me.
Exactly.
Okay. Half a point
When you-
awarded. Fine. Let's move on.
That is
When
Antarctica,
Adam
right? So
says-
you can see how
Go on, Brian.
I'm just saying, Adam says, I know I'm too nice to people. I think Ruhif might disagree with that.
I'm only ever nice to Rufy. It's part of the fun of dealing with him, only ever being nice.
I've seen Adam's messages to
I know.
Ruby. He's very polite. Very polite.
I was going to say Neil instead,
Oh, okay.
but I went with Ruhif.
You ruined the gag. No worries.
world in the middle, flat earthers, or some of them, believe that beyond the ice wall,
No, fair play. I'll give him an extra half credit because whoever he's referencing has even said some of them.
is this other world with its own continent. Saw this on Twitter the other day and I was scrolling through it, but the replies to it are insane. Like, they genuinely are so sold on this talking about how there was this one man that went to Antarctica on his expedition back in the day, and I can't remember his name, and he's got proof and it's all up on YouTube.
Okay, so it's Admiral Byrd in the bottom right-hand corner that he's got flashed up.
Apparently.
Okay. This is why
Can
I
I-
don't believe in the ice.
Yeah, you feel free, Brian.
Yeah. Admiral Byrd is the worst evidence for an ice wall or anything else ever. I mean, I couldn't even prove that Admiral Byrd ever even went to 90 degrees, 80, whatever it is, degrees there. 90, whatever they want to say, right? Whatever they want to call Antarctica. I couldn't even prove that the guy ever even went there. I have no idea. You know, I can see video. I saw a video of expedition in Antarctica, and they're on a sunny beach. You know what I mean? From back in the 50s, I think it was, 40s.
Okay, well, with the
They're
audience
on a
might know
sunny
what we're
beach.
talking about. So I can't remember the name of the title. It's really hard to pronounce. It's like the Chronolona Monoscope or something. That he's got two hosts interviewing Admiral Byrd, and Admiral Byrd basically explains that he's gone down to Antarctica and beyond. There is loads of wealth in the form of minerals that are mineable. There's lush vegetation. There's all sorts of stuff going on that we should really be dealing with and taking the resources from. And he doesn't know why. That's what he expects to happen in the future. His future, at that time in the late 40s, I guess, was a world of traveling down to Antarctica and getting all the resources.
Yeah, well,
that's what he said on the interview. I'm just telling the audience what happened in that interview, regardless of its validity. Okay.
Right,
That's the
mountains
conspiracy.
of coal and uranium, he said.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Past Little America, but that's see, this is where you can't trust it, because this is the conspiracy to cover up what actually happened down there. Now you can go into that whether you think the hunting Nazis, whatever, but huge fleets went down there, and the story they come back with after, whether there were losses or not, but whatever happened we're not told about. The story come back is this Longines thing with him on.
Telescope.
Yeah, to be given the tale that there's more lands to be discovered there. Not that we went down with shitloads of the military, what was left after the World War, and then we came running back, and we never went back again after making this claim. This is where they use conspiracy theory, and we, as you're saying, Brian, we shouldn't use anything like this. It's very interesting, like the North Atlantic Treaty, but it's not evidence for the nature of the Earth. It's evidence that our governments lie to us, and that's all it's evidence for.
Yeah, the Antarctic Treaty is only evidence that they're claiming that a place called Antarctica exists, and that to go there you have to pay a bit of money and go through a lot of red tape, and even at that you may not actually get to do what you want to do.
It's just evidence you're not free. That's
Yeah,
all it's
free
evidence
to
for.
roam
That
there,
even there, you haven't got free travel. You are restricted, even on the high seas. their level of control.
Control.
It's
That's the
so-
word. We got there in the end. It's about control. People say, why would they lie? It's about control. Here's just an exercise in demonstrating how the narrative in this instance points you towards you being very much under control. Not that there's a bloody ice wall or resources.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's a story to keep you believing, you know, as well, that this place Antarctica is definitely there, as they say. The place they say is there is there. It also keeps you believing this place is there. But what it is just it's a political restriction. That's what it is. Let's be honest.
Yeah, tied up in
mixed in with
a nice fantastical story for you, the public, to be interested in the gold that might be there. The juicy, juicy resources, not the fact that your government's keeping you well under control. They're exploring bits. Why can't you go and explore it? You're not asking yourself. You're saying, maybe they'll give me the opportunity to go that. Maybe they'll give me some free land like Americans. Maybe I'll get something out of what they give me. What scraps will they offer me, I wonder? Oh, I can't wait to suckle on the governmental teat.
Yeah, well, they also show you videos from years ago of sunny beaches on Antarctica. This massive ice shelf that's supposed to be the coldest, driest place on Earth. Sunny beaches.
Yeah, but that's this beach of South Antarctica. It's always sunny there.
South Beach, Antarctica.
Okay, before we go through hold on. Before we go through the bazillion narratives of an Antarctic story that we could all spin in various different guises that we can dig out and show you, the point is, we already covered this also, coincidentally, nice convenient segue, in terms of the government-based psyop that they're going to put out there and then give you all the different variations of the narrative that they can put in conspiratorial terms with almost plausible explanations for whatever it is that happened and the truth mixed in amongst it. This isn't that.
Yeah, but you ruined it, Nathan.
Go on.
I wish they all could be
Did you say South
Antarctica
Beach?
girls. Oh, Neil,
No, I said South.
Everyone, be clear in
Sorry,
the airlines.
Brian, but you said
Obviously,
South
Brian has
Beach.
got something to say. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, South Beach, Antarctica. I wish they all could be Antarctica girls.
But it's not the South Beach of Antarctica. No, it's the beaches of South Antarctica. Like
Well,
the beaches on the south
Beach,
side of Antarctica.
Well, this is
That's
wonderful,
the
isn't
point.
it? Okay, lovely. Let's move on with the video.
Wall theory, or why I don't believe the Earth is flat. It's simply due to the fact that we have pictures of Earth from space.
Hey, who wants to cover that?
Do
Wow.
we? Wow. What do you say?
Well-
I don't know. Go on, John.
I say let's go back to 2014.
Yeah, sorry about the having to run away there. There's some family issues going on, but you don't have gas pressure without a container. The idea that there's an outer space you can take pictures from is just objectively not true.
It's also objectively not true. It's also objectively not true that they have photographs from space. But it is objectively true that they have images that they're claiming, not claiming to be photographs, that they're alluding to be photographs from a second law of thermodynamics violation. That is true.
Well, what kind of images do they have, Brian?
Well, they have different ones of a globe, and they have the moon, and different images of an outer space heliocentric sky vacuum. They have all kinds of images.
Yeah,
And
but
this-
the guy that made the blue marble, how did he make that? He made that, right? There's a certain guy that put that together through images, right?
Simmons. You're talking about the Simmons guy.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
no, that's not. That
Unless you're
wasn't
talking about the
that wasn't Robert Simmons.
photorealistic. You're talking about photorealistic astronauts, or are you talking about it's Photoshop because it has to be? Which blue marble are you talking about?
That one, it has to be.
That one, when I gave you a choice of two.
No, but hold on.
No,
The original
the blue marble.
photo.
Hold on, Brian.
What-
Let Arwen get his
The blue
piece.
marble-
Hold on,
Shut
Arwen. Hold on, Brian. Just let Arwen get his piece. Go on. Go ahead.
Yeah, the original blue marble photo, the one from like with Antarctica on it, in Africa, I think. Was it? Like, that one wasn't photoshopped, okay? Photoshop didn't
No, it
exist
wasn't.
yet.
There's Michael Collins.
But they used like lensing to trick it, to make it an actual photo. That's
No,
why
no,
that
no, no,
one-
no. Oh my God, we're getting
No,
feast of nonsense left and right.
clear.
Stop, everyone, stop, stop,
but
stop,
maybe
stop.
if you just
Right, I'm gonna have to cut them off. Now we've got so much feast of nonsense we can't keep up. So now we've got feast of nonsense from Bart Sabrell in terms of their illusion that you've still gone out into a sky vacuum to take a fake picture of Earth with a cutout. Right, that's more feast of niterance.
Yeah, it's in outer space. I mean, they sent up a satelloon and then they used a very special lens to literally bend it on the spot, not photoshopped afterward, photoshopped in that thing.
No, Erwin, that's not what they did.
No, oh, okay.
Well, no, that's not what the blue marble is. It's a painting. That's what it actually is.
Yeah, I'm trying to clear up, right? Yes, Michael Collins was a photorealism painter, but he wasn't the one who did that photograph.
But damn, I always get that wrong.
That painting.
Damn.
Sorry.
It's about the third time I've got it wrong. Who's the actual astronaut that did it?
Fault. It's not your fault because I forgot the name. I mixed up the name. Right, I forgot. He did do photorealism paintings of the globe from the moon and all this other nonsense, right? Right, he did do those things, right? So I'm not saying he wasn't involved afterwards, but it was astronaut Alan Bean, who was a photorealism painter also, right? And he did the blue marble painting, and they took a photograph of that painting. That is a real photograph of a painting. Sorry, Arwen. I just had to get
the
that.
original South Antarctica thing? Or
the original blue marble is a painting by Alan Bean.
I'm asking the original, very, 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 very first picture ever that's been like doled around in the world about this
72 or 69. Sorry, whatever. 69, yes. Whichever one it was.
Yes, Arwen. The original blue marble from 69. Yes.
Yeah, Alan Bean.
Okay, so that's a photo of a painting. That's really sneaky because they say it is a photo, and I guess they're technically correct.
No. Yeah, that's not even sneaky. No, if you're talking about the Mona Lisa, and I hold up a picture of the Mona Lisa, do I have to bloody state that it isn't the original painting? If you're looking at it on a monitor, for instance, no, you don't. Right? What we're talking about, regardless of if it's a presented image of the blue marble, the original work that is presented to you called blue marble is just a painting. That's all it is. That's the point, right? If you want to get more on this, go to Math Powerland's channel, right? Math Powerland's the originator of the photo or painting argument, and he just did exactly that. Created a picture of the original blue marble, put it on a t-shirt with the caption photo or painting. Now, given that he painted it, I'm pretty sure he knew the answer. But for most people, I go, yeah, that's Earth from space right there. No, it isn't. There is no space. Let's get on to that. Who's going to cover that?
No, I get that. It's just that when I was in school, I still remember this moment. They showed me that specific one and then said, no, that's actually a photograph. And I guess they tricked me because it really was a photograph of a painting. And I didn't even at the time thought of, like, was it really a photo made in space?
Did I just cover this like 2 seconds
then
ago?
They would have had to like stutter through that.
I got you the first time, and I covered it when I said, if I show you a picture of the Mona Lisa, am I going to tell you that it's a photograph because I've got to state the bloody obvious while I hold a photograph of it? If I go and take a picture of sunflowers, right? Number one, I'd struggle to fit it in frame. It's really massive. But if I could get a whole picture of it and show it you, scaled down to A4 size, do I have to declare to you that I've taken a photo and printed it out? I go, that's the painting of sunflowers that I've taken a picture of. It's not deceptive. What? Who cares? We're majoring on the minors when we're not focused on why we know it unequivocally isn't a photograph of Earth from space.
Yeah, I get that. I was just going on about how they tricked me with the word.
Go on about it again. My lead up to making the actual point worthwhile. You're going to yammer on about that again. Thanks. I'll make a fourth attempt to a segue. You can't have gas pressure
without a container. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. You can't have a chemical reaction that is required as part of photography take place in a vacuous system.
Yeah, but
Which
that's not.
doesn't exist because
No,
it
no.
can't
We don't
exist
need to know about
gas
I
cameras.
need to know about how
That's
cameras
it.
work in vacuums. What are you doing?
So he said there's one photo. I'd not heard what Brian said. I'd not heard, I kind of assumed it wasn't or knew it wasn't. But I've just wicked it here. And this is, see, he's a conspiracy theorist. So he'll have looked at this and he'll be going, no, it's it. Look, so this is the party line. All the crew members took photographs during the mission with the onboard Hasselblad. Yeah. So you don't argue about vacuum, gas pressure and vacuums and cameras and they won't work. They had a Hasselblad. So for those that are normies, that's your rebuttal answer, Darwin. They have largely avoided definitively answering the question of the photographer's identity by each member claiming to have taken it. You see, that's the argument that the mainstream, that's the conspiracy. Who took the photo? Not can the photo be taken? It's no. They're not being clear of it because they're not sure which person used the camera for the exact blue marble picture. He's a conspiracy theorist. These are all in his head. All these things, that's the conspiracy. But the photo, being genuine anyway to him, that's not debatable.
Right. And I'll try once more. Arwin did it through the top of me moaning about him feeling deceived by a teacher when they said he wasn't deceived because it was a photo of a painting. But there's no way your teacher knew it was a painting. Just to round that subject off, hopefully it won't come up again. But the point is, we know it's not a photograph because the claimed location of the shot, where they took the picture from. So they claimed to take the picture with a Hasselblad camera in the sky vacuum. So as we all listen to this show, we glance our heads upwards towards the nearest window and towards the sky and say, if that was a vacuum, all of the gas that we are currently breathing would vacate into that area instantly. It's a law of nature. It's called the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space. There is no space. There is no outer space to take this picture from. The picture's automatically fake. We have no requirement to provide a backstory about photorealism from Mr. Alan Bean or from Michael Collins. It makes no difference. The place is Narnia that they took the picture from. Is it a real picture of Aslan? We don't know whether or not it was Edmund that took the picture or not. Who cares if it was Edmund? It's claimed to be a picture of Aslan taken in Narnia. They're taking pictures from a fake place. There is no outer space. We'd all be dead. That's the main point.
Well, according to the gas pressure, the last thing I heard, and this has been recent, they told me it's constantly being produced from ground level. And so it's going, but it's a constant flow. So we're never out of oxygen. Are they serious
you're
about
saying that there are, by their estimation, hurricane-force winds coming out of the ground to constantly replace the expansion of gas into an area of volume that is essentially infinite in their rhetoric. Now, this little tiny blue dot they claim we are in a sky vacuum, with gas clinging to it in violation of natural law in the first instance, that never have developed gas pressure, ever. Because the very first gas particle that came out of the ground in that rhetoric, that nonsense of a blue dot in a ever-expanding vacuum of nothingness, no gas would ever have anything to press on. It'd come out of the ground and immediately vacate into space. You'd never develop gas pressure. They're saying, oh, we've developed it, and now we've got so much of it coming out of this tiny dot in space that it can overcome the vacuum of the space that it's in. No, that's a utterly absurd rebuttal.
They don't claim that, Neil. They claim that larger molecules like oxygen, nitrogen, which make up the majority of their atmosphere, are too heavy to achieve escape velocity. So it's only the lighter gas particles, such as helium and hydrogen, that are light enough to exhibit gas behavior.
Just out of interest, sorry. What's the
people?
So what are the specific weights of these gases, and how did we weigh them?
So I'll say again. Yeah. So they claim that the weight of the gas particles means gravity can stop them escaping. Yeah.
No,
Listen to this.
sorry, no. So the gravity of a gas is irrelevant when it's expanding in all directions equally.
But it's not,
what they're
because
doing-
gas go down, go boom, boom in this plane.
That simply isn't the case, though, is it? Gas
No.
expands in all
No.
directions. It's a rule. It's a law of nature.
That's
Never going
why
to
I said
change.
it's only the 3% of the hydrogen and helium molecules that actually exhibit gas behavior in their paradigm. The 3%.
So you're
that
saying
do.
in their paradigm, when they suggest that only 3% arbitrarily ascribed to expand in line with gas law, that's the only percentage of their gas that behaves as gas behaves. The other 97% does not behave in line with gas law because it's all going down in spite of being produced on the ground.
It's more than that, 99.9997%. It's 3% of the hydrogen and helium. Because not all of that. Yeah,
Not 3% of the.
Oh,
Sorry, I missed that. So not 3% of the sphere-shaped oxymoron atmosphere air, but 3% of the oxygen and helium escapes. Did you say
hydrogen and helium.
Hydrogen and helium.
Oxygen's too heavy. It weighs too much, oxygen, to escape.
Do you see what they're referencing? there?
Less than 1% might follow gas law in their rhetoric? Oh, how wonderful!
But what they're referencing there is specific gravity, right? Because they have to refer to relative density within their claim, right? Heavier, right, stays down, lighter goes up. But heavier is only heavier because of more dense. Lighter is only lighter because of less dense, right? But just for the audience, for those that may not have heard it, or for the person whose video we're responding to, in case they listen to it. If air had weight, then objects weighed in a vacuum would weigh less. But objects weighed in a vacuum weigh more. Because air does not have weight. End of story, end of heliocentric model, end of every single thing. Every single thing they claim finishes at that exact point.
I
Go on, Neil.
agree with that, Brian. I understand it when you say it, but I think people are making up their own shit. Because this person was actually stating that it's a constant flow, so it doesn't have to press on anything, and we still would have air because it's constantly being created.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with no. Neil, you have to listen to that again. Listen, you need to listen to me again, right?
It would
If
have
air had
We got
weight-
it. Brian, you did a wonderful job and no one interrupted. We got it. Gas
No, I got it.
and its behaviour would exhibit
I don't think he did.
stuff. Okay, you go through it again then.
No, I
Not
did
Neil.
get it. I'm
Neil-
just telling you what people are saying. I got you. But I think people are making up their own stuff now.
They are, Neil.
They're
Yes, that's
thinking
right.
about it and
Yes.
just making up their own shit.
Yes, we got that. Thank you. Yes, we heard the crap that people made up and told you. Thank you. Feel free to reiterate it a second time. We got it the first though, Brian. You were really good. But go ahead.
No, I don't need to say it again. Then I just wanted to make sure Neil understood it because he brought up the point about people saying this, that, and the other thing. It's like it doesn't matter what anyone says. There is no way around that. It's over. The whole heliocentric model finishes right there. Over.
Assume the average flat earther's response to that is going to be fake. And all I have to say about that is,
What when we say second law of thermodynamics violation to assert the sky is a vacuum and that gas don't go down, go boom, boom with gravity, you think that our response would be fake? I don't think we use that word. We attempted to explain where the images have actually come from with the photorealistic artwork of the astronauts. We also pointed out the bait and switch narratives that have been put out there in terms of who might have taken this picture, and then went on to juxtapose it with Narnia. Because there is no area above my head that is a vacuum, I'd be dead. And we'd never have developed gas pressure in the first place because the first particle of gas that came out of the ground and travelled up would vacate into the area of volume never to return. And so would every subsequent gas particle that was ever produced ever. We'd never have gas pressure. So no, there is no area devoid of pressure called a sky vacuum you think of as outer space for them to take the pictures from. I didn't just say fake, did I? Yeah, shocking. Please let this guy know. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. He might be shocked at what we actually do say as opposed to just calling your pictures fake. No, we can justify why we might call them fake. We did. But our argument was that you can't take pictures from Narnia of Aslan and then argue about which of the children took the picture, because there is no Narnia. Likewise, there is no outer space sky vacuum. We'd all be dead. We'd never have any gas pressure. Second law of thermodynamics is what you'll have to contend with, not me saying fake.
It's really not that crazy that we can get pictures of Earth from that far up. Like, really think about it. You know, on a day, it's an astonishing achievement that we can.
What, travel to Narnia through the wardrobe and get the pictures from really high up in a sky vacuum? Yeah, Edmund had to get really warm to traverse the wardrobe to get those photos of Aslan, didn't he? No, nobody's traversing into an area devoid of pressure, looking back at clouds attached to a marble, not vacating into the area 10 to the minus 17 tall black around it. That's utterly absurd and a violation of the second law of thermodynamics. Gas fills space, my friend. So you might think it's an astonishing achievement when they've lied to you because you're too dumb to recognise a lie. Is that me calling these photos fake? Or me pointing out an area that violates the second law of thermodynamics that they definitely didn't go to take these pictures? Utterly absurd.
Can do that. But when you really think about the amazing technology...
John?
Did he say that they got really high?
Yeah,
above surface level?
Yeah, baby. Really, really high.
Well, no, I'm just saying they got an altitude from surface level that exceeded what?
No,
describe the surface level?
This is another one of those Lamborghini moments where John's just superseded the entire argument by pointing out how this gentleman has asserted how high they got. All right, well, to reference their elevation with respect to sea level would require a flat Earth to reference their height too. So your elevation that they got to, regardless of whether or not they're entering an area that violates the second law of thermodynamics, is going to need a flat Earth. Kudos, John. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, and if you're going to describe these orbits, I have those elements that I mentioned earlier. They're eccentricity, right ascension of the ascending node, and argument of perigee. I'll utilize a flat plane to measure angles.
I see. So should he get onto his orbital mechanics that he might believe in to think he's on a sphere painted by an astronaut, claimed to be taken by one of them, who knows, from a place that doesn't exist, he's going to need a flat Earth to assert the orbits that they claim to be in when they traverse the Earth to slingshot themselves to get to the moon. Gotcha. Oh, well, it's shocking that we don't have the telemetry data to point these flat Earth proofs in. Well, there we go. They lost them, if you want to believe that little numpty narrative that they put out for you dumbos. What you got, Adam?
Just 1 point, right? These are very, again, arguments which he may recognise. I just want to put the base argument that I'd put to a newbie if I was having an honest chat with them, and that's just to address that statement that there are lots of photos of Earth from space. Obviously, I'm going to address the gas pressure issue. That's my favourite anyway. But I wouldn't go there straight away. The first thing I'd want to do is just actually set the facts correct. Now, and I'll go by Wiki, and I'll say there's only one picture, which we've discussed, that's admitted by your source, your experts, NASA, and that is your first original blue marble. Now, if I let you have that, will you recognise that every single other thing is just composites and computer imagery? And that's a big win with a newbie. If you remember his first statement, he believes he has got multiple images of the Earth from space. And if you can take that first little chip at them and get them to recognize that at best, right, they've got one, the original blue marble. All the others are, as admitted, composite data. So there is only one. That, if you can get the person leave your first conversation with just that knowledge and they have to accept it, you're well on your way. Because that was his first rebuttal. there are lots of images, and I know what you're going to say, they're all fake. So deal with his underlying belief first.
Yeah, Adam, I agree. I really like that approach, because you're giving him his blue marble photograph, then you're showing him how everything else, all these other images that come probably daily from NASA, aren't actually photographs. You're showing him how they're technically not photographs, none of them. You know, so
You're
he still
citing
thinks,
NASA.
and he will. Come on, sorry.
You're citing NASA that's stating they are not. The picture is composed of data obtained from, and it's stitched together. That's, if you go into the detail, which you can do, I won't now, he's got to admit that, because it's not you, it's the experts, the people that are producing it, telling you how they're producing it. That's you can't argue with that once you can get the person to look at it. But if
Technology
he's
that we use on a day-to-day basis, is it really that far-fetched that like we can put something in space and then just take a look at Earth from
Adam was
space?
talking.
Like, we
Nathan.
have planes. Planes are incredible.
Oh, I thought it was done.
Adam
Sorry.
was talking.
no, I had
He wasn't done.
I had. This is the next point.
No,
This is
Adam,
where gas
don't
pressure.
tolerate that. He's trying to make little out of you. Don't allow him to do that.
It wasn't. It
What
was,
he does.
it was such a good point. It didn't need further comment.
Oh, it did. No, but it's not about that. It's about what Nathan does. Nathan's an alpha male, and he tries to belittle other potential alpha males. That's what he tries to do.
What a load of old bollocks.
I'm Sigma.
No, it's not.
I'm a Sigma.
Yeah, but you see, what Nathan does is he wants to play the video. He's going to play it in a moment over me. He wants to play the video of you, right? And it's kind of a way of dismissing you. And if you
Incredible.
tolerate
Like,
that,
when you really think about the
then
technology
you're
and the fact
bending
that
to
humans
his
actually
will.
made that happen, it's
Sorry, Brian, I thought you were done.
Yeah, right. I was only waiting for it.
Right, seriously though, can we move on with the
But I
video?
just-
It was actually because he had made an exceptional point, and I did want to punctuate it by starting the video. If he had something to add, it's unfortunate, but I did genuinely think it was an excellent point and wanted to punctuate it by starting the video straight after. That's actually why I did it. It wasn't because I was trying to exercise my bloody alpha male dominance, Brian.
Yes, it was. You were trying to make Adam into a shell of a man, like you've tried.
No, I wasn't.
Never worked.
You listen back
Yes, it
and tell
was.
me.
Yeah,
You,
it's not
you
working
listen
with
back
me,
and tell
okay?
me I
No.
didn't. You
I'm
listen
not
back
gonna
and
sit
tell me I
down
didn't
and
punctuate his point nicely. I did. I punctuated his point nicely. I think he made an exceptional point, which I now can't remember.
Let's play then.
incredible. And then you think of all, like more day-to-day basis things that we use. I guess planes are as well, since there's so many flights going out every day. But every
Brian's got nothing to say on this.
day you use the internet,
The
you
lift
use
effect.
phones.
You're saying planes. I know you've got a lot to say. That was me being sarcastic and expressing my male dominance.
You face
No, I don't want to hold it up on that point if you don't want to. You can continue on if you want.
I absolutely do. You've got a lot to say on this. I just want to hear what he's actually got to say before we
Okay.
say it, though.
other
Okay,
side of the world.
once you don't play the video of me,
I won't. I promise.
right? I don't trust that for a moment.
I
The
honestly,
lift effect,
fingers crossed, I won't. Promise.
yeah, right. The lift effect requires for a plane, right, for the pilot to make sure that the plane is opposing the weight. He needs to make sure that there's enough lift generated. For a plane to generate enough lift to overcome the weight of the plane, the full 100% weight of the plane, then the pilot must fly the plane with the chord line of the wings and consequently the nose of the plane, right, a couple of degrees above horizontal, right? As soon as that nose, right, which will be the chord lines, is dipped below horizontal, then the pilot is not accounting for the full weight of the plane, and the plane is in a descent. Not only is it in a descent due to its angle, but it's in a descent because it doesn't have the enough lift to oppose the weight. So essentially, it's falling out of the sky at an angle.
Hang on a second.
That's what it is.
If it's moving around a spherical surface, surely it must be in a continual descent to descend towards the gaping void opening up ahead of it.
Well, that's the problem, you see. It could never fly with an above horizontal pitch for even a second are going around a spherical surface.
Exactly, that's what
it
I'm
would
saying.
always
Exactly.
be accumulated. Yeah.
Altitude's not the issue. It's orientation or reorientation with regards to the constantly reorientating surface. You traverse across it in a straight line vector. You can mitigate altitude by trim. The point is, you're flying in a straight line, but the ground isn't matching. It's not parallel. The ground, if you're on a ball, the ground is not only falling away with the creation of altitude, but it's the orientation of the plane with regards to the surface, and therefore the effect on what Brian's described, the lift effect, or as I describe it, the direction of down, how that changes as you fly in a straight line vector set by the gyroscope in the plane. That's your issue, because down stops being down the second you start traversing. And if you don't mitigate for that, then all your lift effect falls apart, because the plane's pointing in a different direction because the ground's changed.
It shouldn't fall apart based on their descriptions of the increased thickness of the atmo as you traverse their sphere surface, right? Therefore, it should all work out nicely, and they should actually traverse the sphere. But all of their references, Brian's discussed a couple, you did as well with the gyro, but what are they actually referencing? How do they know how high or low they are? I don't know if John's going to pipe up.
Yeah.
But
yeah, but it's not as good. That point is not as good as the lift effect.
Oh, no, I agree.
Let me show you why.
I'm not suggesting it is.
I need to reiterate. I need to point out something, because Adam said something about altitude that's important. Right? Altitude is important when it comes to lift effect, and I'll tell you why. Not that altitude is connected to the lift effect. Why it's important within this point is for them to fly around our globe, right, to hold an altitude, right, above the sat surface, then they need to fly with a constant below horizontal pitch that will be an accumulation of below horizontal pitch. From the moment they get to cruising altitude, from that very point on, they must then have a constant second by second accumulation of below horizontal pitch. But the problem is, right, they're then not accounting for the weight of the plane, so they are essentially falling out of the sky, so losing altitude. So Adam is right when he says altitude, but not what the reason I bring up altitude when it comes to the lift effect is they won't have the lift they require to oppose the weight, so they are actually falling out of the sky.
We don't need to get off the ground, do we? Nathan's right, actually, because before I take off, I've got to calibrate my gyroscope. What am I calibrating it to? I'm calibrating it to the flat plane of the surface I'm going to traverse.
Alternatively, just stop you there. Alternatively, Brian, they orientate with the horizon, something a sphere doesn't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That gyroscope, which is going to be my artificial horizon, is going to be calibrated to the flat plane of the surface. That's what it's going to reference. That's why it's staying on the ground for half an hour, making sure it's spot on accurate. So, yeah, that's what that artificial horizon is. It's a flat parallel plane to the surface.
Like a horizon.
Hmm.
I just want to get into this wrangled angle. Maybe you can. So what is a horizon then, in this regard, with aviation in mind?
It's an optical leveling device.
Level with the plane of the surface of the Earth that you're traversing. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it'll make sure that the plane you create, the optical plane you create to reference wherever you are on the plane, is parallel to the surface. Yeah.
So in many, many, many ways, this type of traversing Earth's surface references and requires Earth to be flat, and does not, i.e. debunks the assertions that you're traversing a curved surface, because that is not happening, and you can demonstrably show that that is not happening. Why does this guy believe that it's in any way a globe proof?
Think of Earth millions of years ago. Like, we had grass and rocks and stuff, and then humans come along and they create internet out of that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
shout out to Quantum Eraser. Clearly an Evo-tard. Go on, Brian.
Millions of years ago. Where did they get information from?
Noah, if it was millions, I don't know how long.
Yeah, but the point is that millions of years ago, and then humans came along. It's like, that would be That sounds like the Big Bang Theory to me, leading into an evolution.
And stay clear of that. Let him have that. I would not jump on that in the slightest. Let him have that. I don't need to challenge that. That could fall apart later for him.
Yeah, I wrapped it up by calling him an evotard.
Yeah.
How the fuck? How do you even make internet, or how do you make the first computer?
Did he just swear? Did he just let a little swear word out in exasperation?
Yeah.
I just want to get a note of his tone and his temperament. Let's just do that again.
And then humans come along and they create internet out of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck? How do you even make internet, or how do you
Yeah, he's clearly exasperated by this, isn't he? This is troubling for him.
make the first computer and a screen? Not the best way of describing it, but my
How do we make the first computer? Ironically, the use of quantum mechanics debunking the notions of evolution. I mean, I know you said you shouldn't really grapple over this, Adam, but when someone's leaving it right out there dangling, why you can't not smack it, can you? What am I supposed to do when he leaves that dangling out there and saying, "Where do we get computers?"
I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing somebody that recognizes the majesty of creation, but is still struggling with it. How do you even make computers? Right? He's looking at the majesty of what's been of technology around him. I want to say, let him be. That's a confused brain.
Right, but maybe a Heisenberg quote, right? The first sip of the cup of natural science will make you an atheist, but at the bottom of the glass, God is waiting for you. God, I paraphrase that terribly.
I think this is a straight up argument to ignorance. I don't know how they make computers, therefore Earth's a globe.
Yeah, it could be just as simple as that. Let's spin on and see.
point is, humans have made some really incredible things happen with technology, and it's really not that far-fetched or hard to believe that we can look at Earth from space. On top of that...
My God, John! You called it 5 seconds before he said it. He couldn't have wrapped that up in a nicer bow for you, John. Props.
We can make computers, therefore we can go into a second law of thermodynamics violation.
Yep.
Yeah, you see, he's struggling. Can you see he's struggling? That's his rebuttal to all this. It isn't based in anything real other than, yeah, but look how good we are. We can make the internet. So therefore we must be able to go to this place that's his justification, not to actually validate anything, but just to look at other things, and they're great, so we must be able to do that. If I'm hearing this, I'm not jumping on that. I'm laughing, thinking, you've got nothing, have you?
Okay, so it's a total non sequitur.
Well, it's a false equivalency.
It's what's holding his faith together, Nathan. You're hearing him tell you what's keeping it together. How can we go to space? Because we can do other good things like the internet and fast cars and a Tesla.
Gotcha. Go on, Brian.
Yeah, it's a false equivalency. It's like, well, we have computers, so that equals globe. That's a false. How is that equivalent?
Just like email science.
Yep. Shout out to Becky.
I know space is a big thing with the flat Earth theory, right? I don't know if they believe in space, because
Like you believe in space? No. We told you at the start of this that we're not going to be talking about our beliefs. And weirdly, you start with them. I don't know if they believe, as I do, that space is real and men go to it. I don't know if they believe in that or not. I'm not sure. Who cares what we believe? Does it matter to you what we believe? Shouldn't. Shows insecurity. But you do. You concern yourself with what they believe and then tell the audience what you believe. Because you believe men have gone to a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum that we call Narnia to take some pictures. And of course they did, because we got computers.
like, if you're assuming the Earth is
But
flat,
this is
then...
on the word belief. This is the word that constantly turns up on these types of videos. People referencing us and then saying they don't believe in space, they don't believe in this, they don't believe in that. Because they are only dealing with beliefs, and they're telling on themselves, and they're telling themselves the truth without realizing it. They're only dealing with beliefs. We're dealing with what is for real. and they're dealing with what they can tolerate believing in.
Yeah, they're in a
And here we
category
can't
error.
understand why we won't.
Yeah,
Go on.
they're in a category error. We discuss physics. He's discussing religion.
Yes.
Morning, guys.
Right now, with that understanding, hey, Chocolate.
Go ahead.
Hey, with that understanding, with that understanding under our belt now, is it not reasonable to explain to them after you point out the failures of their logic, how they come to the incorrect conclusion that gives them their belief?
Yeah, that's the step. Now is the time. As much as we get condemned for it, don't we, John? We step in with you're going to need a flat Earth for that too early. But your temperament, temperament, is that the right word? Your tempered nature in regards to finding the most useful place to tell the opponent that they need a flat Earth is now, isn't it? This is that moment. How did you come to this point in your belief, your religion, your faith? Where did you come from to get here? Well, you came from a measurement that was taken of the reality that you do inhabit, a measurement of the ground that you're standing on, a measurement of the Earth. And those measurements of a flat Earth were used to give you this belief that you question others in whether or not they hold. Yeah, right on, John. This is the moment to point out that you're going to need a flat Earth for your faith once they appreciate that they have a belief, as he's disclaiming with a burden of proof reversal, or however, it's not burden of proof, it's projection.
It's not a globe, but you can think of it as a globe.
Indeed. Hey, Quantum Eraser.
Still think you're a bit early. I'm thinking now I'm focusing on gas pressure without a container. He's done a lot of stuff first, so I'd stick with that. I want him to spit out a word like orbit or stars, or before I'm going to take him to that devastation that everything's going to come from all his measurements. Just chip away first. Gas pressure without a container is a big shake. You don't need to drill it. Just mention that this is, of course, a violation of actual known physics. Because he sounds like the sort of person that's going to respond to that. Well, this is known physics, so let's discuss that. Get in there, and when he's going to get there, he's going to get to space.
I hear you, and I take it on board, right? Let's just get that as read. I take on board what you are saying. We got to lead him into the point where he, as the opponent, is making the claim, positive as it needs to be, about an angle measurement or such like that I can tie a flat Earth to. Why do I have to extend him this courtesy? Pray tell.
Because he's not an anti-flat earther, and you're trying to actually lead him to a positive point, not send him running, crying, and frankly, if you go straight to that point, bewildered and confused, and probably not as.
No, you're telling me what I've got to do. Why do I have to do that? Because he's a normie. So you're not doing it for your entertainment. You're doing it to try and actually set him on the right path. No, I'm not.
Because people ain't ready for that yet.
Hold on. This is only going to be caveated by one statement. Unless he's watching right now, I couldn't give a toss. You, my beautiful, beautiful audience. I care about you. The people here now, those people right now in the chat, now they only represent 10% of the people watching. And if he's one of them, I'll take it back if he ever challenged me. Absolutely unequivocally. I do care because he's watching. But beyond that, who is he to me? Well, sorry, why am I motivated to offer him this courtesy, this generosity, nay, Adam?
Well, no, in terms of in the video review, I don't disagree. I'm saying if I'm having this conversation, I'm now at the gas pressure without a container point, waiting for orbits, waiting for something. Yeah. Like I said, with the flight, I'd have nailed him down with my flat plane with the gyroscope. Yeah. I'd have pulled it there. Yeah. I don't want to run to a topic that I've raised. I want every topic that because he's telling me why he believes in space right now. So okay, I want to agree.
I'll play along. So in this scenario where we're happening to be discussing this with the guy in front of you, as opposed to a video review, right? Can I just get that correct first before I respond in that tone?
Yeah.
Okay. I got a wife, got limited time, and I'm pretty poor. I have got better things to do. I could monetize that conversation by doing it like now. Why? I wouldn't be having the conversation with him in that regard. I've got
He's
better things
taking
to
you
do.
to the pub and for a curry. It's a free night.
I've been cornered into doing that by my tech guy a few times.
I know.
Yeah, you know damn well I have, you
That
bastard.
example.
What Adam's trying to tell you is that some people ain't ready for this yet. Like, I've hit people in real life, like ex-coworkers with your globe came from a flat earth. And that gives me the look of, oh, you have 3 heads, right? Because they're still trying to get over the concept that they're not on a globe. So to come with the concept that you're a globe that you're thinking of came from a flat earth, people ain't ready for that. And that's what Adam's trying to tell you.
Again, sorry. I failed to see the connection with that statement either. So these people in front of me on the street that I don't care about, not the glorious audience who share the show regularly and support me financially, quite literally with their own cash out of their own back pocket. This man on the street, you saying he's not ready? Sorry, was I holding up a light and a starting timer? Why do I care? No one's telling me why I care.
I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you.
You keep referencing your audience. Your audience want to go and have conversation with families, friends, people they do meet in the pub. Yeah, some are a bit more social than you. Yeah, and if you go in not without any lubrication, they're not coming back for seconds.
I'm so graphic.
Yeah, it's like, come on, yeah, you couldn't nail it there, Adam. Yeah.
Okay. No, fair enough. So the conclusion, hold on, John. So the conclusion, if they're not all lubed up nice, they won't want more. Okay, I follow.
Yeah, but so now the conclusion, it seems, is just because they're not ready for a factual statement, you shouldn't give them one.
That's not my conclusion.
I didn't say that.
With the second statement,
summary.
You shouldn't give them one.
No, that's completely incorrect. Listen to what I've been saying all along. Everything I've given them is a factual statement. It's just what facts they're ready to digest at this moment. Now, I think they're ready to digest the fact that even though they think there's lots of photos from space.
What an outrage. What a total outrage. So I'm that guy in front of you, and you're looking at me, looking down on me with your condescending furrowed brow and assessing what I'm ready. What a bloody outrage.
Yeah.
No,
I want to convince you. I want to convince you. I don't want to just bamboozle you. I want nods. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. And then we can get to the fine dessert, where it really starts to blow the mind, where we do show that all your ball measurements come from flat Earth.
You've been led. Adam, you fell right into it. My trap. Adam. So it's like an agreement ladder, like in sales, you're saying?
Maybe, yes.
Well,
yes.
What's that? How is it you describe the product we're selling again, Adam?
Shit. Selling shit. That's why you need sugar on that.
So you're in the street selling shit to next man when you've got a beautiful wife at home. What a disgrace.
Well, my problem with it would be that he's not going to understand what you mean or by what you're saying. And if it catches on and enough flat earthers start doing that, what will happen is they'll stop knowing why they're saying it, because someone's going to not know what, like, you need a flat earth for that. Really, why? I don't know. I just only learned the catch-all phrase. And it's going to come across as a smart aleck catch-all phrase that the average everyday man will just dismiss and just say, the earth is really big. Just, well, what's he talking about? And walk off. It's not going to be productive. It seems productive for you now to say to fight the flat earth. You're going to need a flat earth for that. But it's not productive for the everyday man.
Right. It would be like saying that because gas has weight and things weigh heavier in a vacuum, that debunks the heliocentric model. And if somebody questions someone who repeats that, that would be bad, right? If they didn't understand why.
Yeah, if they don't understand why vacuum weights destroy heliocentrism, then there's no point in them saying it. Do you know what I mean? What's the point? They need to know why.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right, there's a time and place.
If they don't understand why they need a flat Earth, why are they saying it?
Okay, maybe this is not the moment. Maybe when he brings up the angles that he's going to use to prove a globe is the moment. Fine, fine.
Do you think the moon is flat and all the other planets are flat as well?
If it had said that statement before we got into that wrangle-dangle, we'd have realised the level that we're dealing with and we wouldn't have had that conversation. But that's okay. We didn't hear it and we still had it. What the problem is here, we have got extremely finely tuned instruments of destruction, right? Now, they're super sharp, they're super pointy, and they very easily decapitate people. However, like with the Black Knight, if you just keep chopping off limbs and the guy's still turning around and he's going, I'll bite your legs off, yet it doesn't seem to matter how many limbs you chop off or how sharp your sword is. It ain't having any effect on the Black Knight now, is it? Now, you can turn around and go, yeah, I've just destroyed his argument, though, haven't I? I've shown the guy how he needs a flat Earth to make his globe claim. Yeah, you did take his arm off, but then he told you that it'd bleed on you, didn't he? So maybe not pulling out the super sharp weapon and taking their arms off immediately is the right approach, because if you can get them to literally disarm themselves without even touching them or picking up a sword, then that might be more effective when they're standing there naked, realising how exposed they feel. Because they might actually have a dramatic, lasting effect when you do that. I get your points, but I've got to oppose them to draw them out of you. You know the score here.
Don't really know how
I
that
would say
works.
it just depends on the conversation that you're having and who you're having it with.
Yeah.
If it's a full-on debate with somebody that maybe doesn't like you very much, yeah, you got hit him with, chop his head off real quick. But if it's a conversation, you want to actually just destroy it point by point instead of just going straight for the head.
Well, in that context, where we're at now, how often do we come across friendly people that just want to discuss our ideas?
Oh, this guy's
Not
friendly.
often.
He just wants to learn. No?
In the flat Earth,
Yeah.
so you can let me know down below.
Hold on,
But
that's what
one
they
thing
say
else-
right in the beginning. No, sorry.
Yeah, Neil.
That's what they say right in the beginning. But then how quickly they want to be the teacher.
Yeah, as soon as something challenges their rhetoric that they can't overcome, they want to tell you how they know better. Maybe qualify themselves as a scientist. Who knows?
I'll say is that there are things that you can get your hands on right now, publicly available telescopes. Might cost you quite a bit of money, but there are things that you can get, even just cameras, and you can
Like a
just look at the
celestron.
moon
I don't know. Let's see what it appeals to through these telescopes. Let's see what he's going to present.
for yourself. You can look at like stars and planets and shit. Like they're just there,
Okay, and?
Ready.
You can see them.
I think that's it. I think that's his claim. You can look at stars
Is
and
that
see
where
them.
the
Technology.
Is that where the curvature is in the stars?
No. He's saying, look, there's this fantasy land that they say they travel to that's a sky vacuum. And what they say is irrelevant because I can look at the stars where they say they're going and see them as well. So because I can see stars twinkling in the night sky, I know that they go to them. That's his evidence.
So we could
So
see
is he being like the pilot? Is he being like the astronaut? We see stars and planets.
So we could see them.
This guy, right. If you guys could see what was on screen now, right, what he's doing is he's got his head in his hand, or his hand, right? This is a guy in mental pain, and he's verbalizing the arguments to an audience to make himself feel better about those arguments. Crap though they are, we know they're crap. But he's literally got his head in his hands as he's telling us this.
We've done so many things that it's really not that hard to believe that we can go up
There's
to
that word again.
space. That is my reason why I'm not.
Not that hard to believe you go to space. Yeah, right, it's really easy to believe stuff. Really easy for kids to believe in Santa, Narnia, easy. Yeah. What's your point? You've got a belief. Well done.
The next proof we've got now then of space is telescopes. Yeah. I'm just logging what his proofs are. And as he raises them, I'd raise that now, Nathan. Yeah. So, okay. So your next proof of space being a vacuum is telescopes. How does that support it?
No, that was the support.
I know, but that's why I'm asking him that, just to elaborate. Tell us, I'm brilliant. I love telescopes. I love, as a flat earther, looking at the stars. So just tell me, I've got a telescope. What does that mean? How does that demonstrate that there's space? All these things you've just claimed, because you've just cited
I'll do it for him.
telescopes.
I'll respond on his behalf.
Yeah.
Well, you're looking at space and shit. How was that?
Yeah, brilliant. You see,
You could look up in the sky and see that the Earth is a globe. Simple.
Yeah, because we know they're all globes. So how could we not be a globe?
Hang on. No, we don't.
And once he said that, you can smile, can't you, at him?
Okay, so then we can point out two-dimensionality in the telescope. He's not got binocular vision to the stars, nothing about them spherical. Are you referring to orbital motion? Perhaps we could lead him so we can tell him he'll need a flat Earth for his orbital motions. Okay.
Absolutely.
Time and place.
Not a flat earther or an ice wall theory enjoyer.
Did you know there's a theory out there that suggests Antarctica is not just an ordinary icy land mass?
Excuse me. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me just get this out, because we were talking about telescopes. Tell me a telescope that's worth its weight in salt that you don't have to level. Point to one.
No, that's what I'd want to go to, John, is all these things now, because he's trying to move to ice walls back. So I'd pull him back. Yeah. And I would now try and get in. You're going to need a flat earth for that before we go back to ice walls, because he's made his statements of what his proof was. Let's now give him an education on the latter part, because we've gone through what he thinks his pictures, gas pressure without a container. He's now referencing the stars and measuring them. Hopefully, that's what I'd lead him to take him to that final destruction before I'd then let him postulate ice walls again.
Right, because any telescope that's worth its weight in salt is going to be able to track the angle of the star with relation to the horizontal plane you're standing on, so that you can get a better image of it. Those little pieces you hold in your hand. Okay, no, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
No, don't rumpus him, Chocolate, while he's in the middle of... He's waited long enough to get this point in, the approval of everyone else. We finally got to the point where everyone's like, fair enough. He's talking about telescopes. I want you to tell the audience how they're going to need a flat Earth for that. For him, if no one else. I empathise with him so much. I really want to, take him there now rather than 25 minutes ago.
No, I'm going to take everyone's point on board. If they're not ready to hear the truth, then I don't need to make factual statements.
No, I pulled it back to that point. I'd been holding it off, but as the conversation, and I'm only saying how I deal with it, as the conversation's moved on, now's the time. And actually, that's a very nice opening line to get the conversation to where you want it. Do you know any decent telescope? You've got to get it level. It's a really good opening line to get the conversation to what we're going to do, which is how we measure what we're doing, how everything's done from this level that we first set up.
Well, I was just going to be an ass and just say leveling. There's telescopes that don't need leveling. What do you mean? Like the Hubble? That doesn't even need maintenance for like 30 years. Don't worry about leveling.
Anyone know the score with Hubble? Has it got a new prescription, or what's the score?
What?
Oh, nothing.
I made a point of not bringing up that you have to level a telescope on purpose, because I don't want to go to there, because he's not going to know what the hell I'm talking about. I made a point in that. If he was having a conversation with me, I thought I'd say to him, I'll ask him, so you've looked into these telescopes, have you? Well, I saw it. Have you observed an orbit? Because nobody observes orbits. The observatory things going in front of things, and things appearing to pre-assumingly going behind things, nobody is observing these orbits. Regardless of the fact that the mathematics requires a flat plane, the point is nobody observes them, including Kepler. Nobody observes these. You can't observe them because, of course, binocular vision is not... You don't have that with a telescope, number one. So you don't know so you don't see three-dimensionally. But Nobody observes them. You can't see behind the thing that you're thinking there is a behind to. Do you know what I mean? You don't even know what it is, how it functions, how far away it is, if it even has a distance. I mean, the crazy and all that as that might sound, no one can actually prove this thing has a distance. It's ridiculous. You've got nothing, absolutely nothing with your telescope. No offense.
Mass at the bottom of the Earth?
No,
Some believe that it's
wait.
actually a
Your Hubble is your way in, right, to orbital mechanics, isn't it? Yeah. So you can go from telescopes to Hubble to then crowbar in your orbital mechanics now, because Hubble is supposed to, well, it was like 15, 20 years it was supposed to be lasting. I think it's 30 odd now. And I've just looked up, it's 2030, maybe 2040, they're saying. So then I'm saying, so these are accurate, these orbital mechanics then, aren't they? How do you get a measurement for orbital mechanics?
Is that enough lube? Is Hubble enough?
Adam,
Now
that's
that's the
that.
point of penetration, isn't it? Eh?
Yes.
massive ice wall encircling all continents. But that's not all. According to this theory, beyond that icy barrier lie hidden continents waiting to be discovered. It's like something out of a fantasy novel, isn't it?
So they can't put two and two together then. So you've got the chronoscope, and then you've got a AI-generated voice telling you how conspiratorial it is to suggest there's land. What, like a government representative, an admiral, told us there was. Are these people dense?
Well,
It sure is.
Go on.
Just want to say that it's funny that he said it's, how could you believe in this fairy tale, I think he said, or something like that. It's like, well, could you give us the heliocentrism story again, please? Do you know what I mean?
No,
Fairy
he called it a theory, by the way.
I know that. I know we addressed that earlier in the show. We did.
Oh, sorry.
He's referencing conspiracy theories, John. In his thing, it's ice wall conspiracy theory, flat Earth conspiracy theory. When he's saying that, not anything other than that. We think anyway.
But we point out it should be in this genre. He's in a category error. He's talking about his beliefs, aka his religion, and we talk about physics. So when we say theory, we mean the end result of experimentation based on hypothesis. That's the scientific method, aka we deal with physics. He's not dealing with physics. He's questioning other people's belief based on his own religious faith. There's a category error when he says the word theory.
Right, but
Understood. Thank you very much. I'm just saying this has hints. I don't know who's speaking here. It sounds like you said a generated voice, but boy, this has some David Weiss, other lands out there.
Well, this is the double queuing, right? What you're seeing is a guy who's I've mitigated to say he's at least looking at it genuinely, and unfortunately, it appears his reference sources for facts about flat Earth aren't flat Earth debate, because you don't get exposed to that. It's some ropey AI voice TikTok video that he's getting his book from.
Yep.
If it means that in QE, earlier on he said, well, we've got computers, so it's totally possible we went to space.
Oh, brother. Another Haas and Pfeffer routine, huh? Oh, we got eyeglasses, therefore globetard. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if I would put conspiracy theorists down by saying they're in line with heliocentrists, because at least conspiracy theorists are looking at facts and evidence and trying to come up with their own wild ideas about what happened to bring about those facts.
Heliocentrism is the conspiracy.
Yeah, we said
that too.
Well, yeah, but I guess so, because the facts that they're looking at have nothing to do with what they're claiming.
Now, although QE has made it seem like we're going round in circles, we're not. This isn't a repeat. We are still live, and I'm more than happy to extend this because of one of QE's stats that I got off a show the other day, which is to say that often about 5 minutes of video will take approximately an hour to cover, which is about in keeping with what we've covered so far at about the 4-minute 27 mark. And given that this is an 8-minute video, if the audience is keen, and we've got like almost 100 people watching, please share the show, by the way. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm happy to continue to the end of this guy's video, just so we do a full response on this live stream. Also, just one more thing.
I'm going to say goodbye.
Just one more thing.
You're going to round out now.
No, I'm not. Just one more thing. Let the guy know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. So while we're having this little chit chat back and forth, because I'm not going to play any of it till you all rejoin us, I'm going to put a link to his video so you can go and let him know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Help him in the algorithmic love that we would hope to get from him should he respond to us in this regard. So there's a link going by. Go and let him know. If you're new to the channel or you've just got here, this is what we do. Help people. This is help for him, whatever his name is. PolarSaurusRex. Yeah. So go and help him out with a comment. Hopefully he'd do the same for us. Go ahead, Adam.
Brian.
It was Adam, actually, but go ahead.
Okay, I'll go after Adam.
Well, I've nothing to say. I was just being. That's normally where you round out. I was just being flippant.
Oh, that's what. Yes, sorry, it was you. You were someone with an actual point. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. I just saw what Refracted said. No, the globe heliocentrism is a conspiracy theory. It's just a really boring one.
No. What I'm saying is a conspiracy theorist looks at the facts and then makes a speculation based on the facts. A heliocentrist looks at the facts and changes them to meet his wild speculations.
Well, I don't know about that because there's a few conspiracy theories out there now. There's not a whole lot of facts to go with them.
Right, but
that's the CIA, though, isn't it? This is the CIA's behavior because, no, conspiracy theorist, as you say, Refracted, is actually somebody that looks at it and finds that somebody else has conspired to hide the truth. So you show that this story is false. That's what a conspiracy theorist used to be. What it's now become, so they do that first part, but there's now the prerequisite to then make a load of shit up yourself to fill in the story. That's not what a conspiracy theorist is necessarily about. It's about uncovering the conspiracy, not filling in blanks.
Right. I'm just talking about the colloquial definition of conspiracy theorists. They don't fit that because they're not trying to come up with a wild speculation based on the facts. They're changing the facts to fit their wild speculation.
Well, John, let me put it this way. Let's just say that the governments came out, let's just say the US military, let's just say, right? Right. As that, if they made a movie about this topic and it was going to be exposed, then officially, then the American military, some big general will come out and say it, right? The earth is flat, right? It was all wrong. The earth is flat, right? And whatever goes with that after, right? Are you telling me that Fight the Flat Earth, Charles Glober, Math, Ririf, and all these people are not going to start thinking that it's a conspiracy, that they're only lying to us? That it really is a globe? That's what they're going to say, aren't they?
That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
That's not what you said, but I wanted to say that anyway, even though it's totally not what you said. I just wanted to get that out there off the back of what you did say.
Perfect. You
while ignoring what you said.
No one's heard what QE responded to with, and it's the same as me. It's the conspiracy as opposed to what you're looking at, which is a conspiracy theory, a defined term given to us by the CIA to belittle people who look into conspiracies by giving them a kooky...
Yeah.
The kooky idea of what a conspiracy theorist is.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They are the bad thing, not the rhetoric that people are fed. That was my point.
Indeed. Right, let's listen to a bit more of him.
Yeah, but
otherwise we're never going to get to the end of the 8 minutes. It's only an 8-minute video.
Yeah, but a lot of conspiracy theories are based off of heliocentrism. But heliocentrism itself is super boring. That's why they have to come up with reptilians from this sector of heliocentric space and
time travel. The whole Hollywood. You're right, Brian. I'll reiterate. You're saying the whole Hollywood industry is there to sex up the boring nature of heliocentrism with exciting stories, battles from beyond the space that we can't ever have, and boring stuff turned into time travel with Einsteinian notions. Yeah, they've got to sex it up because it's boring as all hell.
Even though it should be the greatest roller coaster ride you'll never feel.
That's another story.
It sure is. I think it would be cool if we discovered an ice wall and that there's loads of life forms and other continents on the outside of it. One of my questions is
Well,
why.
then go and have a look. You know, I mean, why not? If you're excited
stopping
by
you?
that, I'm not. But if you are, then be that guy. I can't remember what show I was watching. I was reading through the comments on a show the other day, and somebody said words to the effect of, I'm born in a time where I'm too late to discover anything about the Earth and too early to discover anything about space. I'm like, man, what a comment. You've summarized the entire control structure of heliocentrism in that comment as a complete globe cuck, because you now believe that there's nothing to discover about Earth, like Truman when she pulls down the blind with all the Mercator projection all over it and says, it's already been discovered. So that's tick one. Yeah, he's not going to go out looking because he already knows it's already been discovered and there's nothing else to discover. We're on a ball. You're going to go around in circles. What are you, crazy? Right, okay. And what, you're too early to discover space? But yet people believe that men are going out there into Narnia to take pictures. Yeah? So too early and too late all at once, man, they've got everybody totally wrapped up, haven't they? With this control structure that they've got in place through the religion of heliocentrism, which is very boring, says Brian. And it is. But the space that they give you on Hollywood isn't.
Sorry, when you says Brian, I thought you were finishing.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, you're saying it's boring, and it needs jazzing up, and it definitely does. I mean, the stuff that I feel detachment from and sadness for losing were my fantasies that were embedded in space because of all the fantasies I was given by Hollywood. No other reason for me to lust after the non-existent.
Remember?
Go on.
Go on, talk. I'll go after you.
But did you hear what the guy just said, though? Like, that it would kind of be cool if there were other lands and other things being discovered. So basically, he's kind of saying, maybe without realizing it, like, yeah, it would be cool if they lied to me about what the Earth was and we discovered things that there are things out there that I don't know about. He's kind of agreeing with it, like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, while simultaneously obviously being scared of it. So that's cute.
Well, not to stand on what Tucker just said, because I agree with him, but just a slightly different point. The other day, when I was listening on Friday, I think it was, the I'm Gonna Get You Sucker movie was taken up, or was talked about. And one of the funny parts of that was the girl who he meets in the bar, the good-looking girl with the great ass and all this stuff, right? Then it turns out that it was her ass was only rubber, her boobs were rubber, she had only one leg, she was bald, do you know what I mean? All these things. That's the globe. All the other stuff is all the stuff Hollywood puts in. You take away all the other stuff, and you have this an abomination nearly, you're not going to.
Yeah, Cherry from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. She looks beautiful sat at the bar sucking on a cherry. But when she takes out the fake ass and takes off the fake leg and the fake arm and takes off the wig and takes out the contact lenses that make her eyes green and takes off the fake boobs, she looks a mess. And that's the globe. And the dressing and the fake leg and the contacts are the Hollywood garnish.
But they all want a real man.
A real man. Well, that scene starts off with him confessing, doesn't it? She says, at the bar when I told you I was 12 inches? Well, she goes, well, at the bar when you thought my eyes were green? Well, no. And this perfect ass? Well, no.
Why don't we just fly over the ice wall? I just find it hard to believe that there is a wall surrounding all of the continents and no...
You find it hard to believe. Okay, well, maybe we're in agreement on this one. Yeah, I find it hard to believe also. Strange that you're comparing your original belief in a sky vacuum violation of the second law of thermodynamics with a new belief in ice walls. Why? You looking for a new religion? Not happy with your old one?
No one has really discovered it yet. Not many people have...
Why is it hard to believe in ice walls, something he's seen, that the whole heliocentric model, something he's struggled to give any validation for, is believable? That's where we're at. He will not admit it.
Zealotry. That's all it is.
Discovered it. Not many people from the other side have visited. Isn't it just going to melt at some point anyway?
Have you ever heard of the Gleason map? It's a map that was published in 1992, and it shows Antarctica.
Was this video just-
1992.
1992. I'm thinking, no, given that the date is on the top of the map, why would you get the date wrong? Ugh.
Encircling all the other continents. Coincidence? Maybe not. Some people point to the United Nations logo, which oddly resembles this very same map. Could it be a hidden message? Who knows?
Like, I would like to believe it.
Go on, guys. We'll respond to his response
Okay.
to the video that he's reacting to. Feel free.
There's
Yeah.
nothing to respond to. Well, we step back into 2015 again. Give me a break.
I don't know when this is
Well-
dated. We'd have to ask Paul, but he's on server mute at the moment. Let's have a look. 7 days ago. Have we stepped back into 2015, John? No. 2015 never left.
Well, there is something I could say. For this person,
Just say it.
and whoever's
Just
with
say it, man. What's your problem?
I'm getting around to it, right? Concerning the Gleason's projection, right? It is a calculator, not a map, right? It is a time and sun calculator, right? But what it really is a time calculator, right? Because it has the latitude and longitude grid placed correctly onto the Earth. But it just happens that the projection of the Earth underneath that is incorrect, right? The whole process of it being a time calculator, of the latitude and longitude grid being as it actually is and how it actually is, was and is measured, that is correct. But what's not correct is the projection underneath that. That's the problem, especially south of the equator.
Indeed.
Because it is a cool idea. Like, just imagine that. It's kind of like, you know, with the whole thing with planets. Like, I believe that there are life on other planets because of just how many there are. You just have to believe that there are life forms.
Is it the Maxwell equation or something? What is the
aliens are coming.
Yeah, but he's justified it with a vague recollection of some equation that he's given. I've forgotten the name of the equation now. Drake or something, where it's stated that given the number of stars in the sky, basically, and the reification of those stars as land, then there's so much land there must be more people. Okay, that's what your justification for aliens. Now, ironically, and you'll see why for a very strange reason, I agree with him. Shocking, Nathan believes in aliens. Yeah, I do, yeah. But just not in the context that he's given, based on actual demonstrable evidence that they have been discovered in our very recent history. Aliens were discovered. Yeah, isn't it shocking? Just go back to what the maps and what they wrote on them and how they progressed in terms of the new worlds that they found and documented on the new maps with new worlds found. Where did they find the new worlds? Anybody? 100 people watching. Where did they find the...
Beyond the horizon. Beyond the horizon.
And what did they call the area that was unknown at that time beyond the horizon?
Outer space.
Outer space! So in our very recent history, we can show how the mariners of old documented firsthand their exploration into outer space beyond the horizon to find new worlds. And you know what they found on the new worlds? Aliens. People. That's what they found. And those people are described to this day when entering our existing worlds as aliens. So they do exist and have been documented for a significant period of time, as have the new planetae, the new lands, the new worlds that are on the maps found in outer space in our recent history. So it's not a stretch. But what's that? This guy, thinks that the ground, like the soil and the rocks and the stuff we stand on, is in the sky? You think there's more soil to find in the sky, do you? Yeah, this is stupid. Our own recent history, if you look at it, shows that to be absurd. And how the juxtaposition between outer space being beyond the horizon and new lands definitely being found, labelled new worlds, it's only in your recent history that they changed one of the terms. Third world country. Shockingly familiar sounding terminology, considering they only recently changed it to developing countries, because third world country, with all its aliens, isn't a very good term to be using when you want people to believe that you'll find soil in the sky. Kind of utter numpty thinks that you'll find rocks and sand and soil in the sky. Oh, you do, because of the mathematical certitude given by Drake. No, they're just twinkling lights. There is no land to find people on in the sky. That's utterly absurd. And your notions that you came to, don't care if my panel object. Your notions that there might be a world revolving around you with rocks in it that are twinkling lights comes from a measurement of a flat plane.
I want to
It's not, it's not just that. Sorry, Brian.
I won't be a second chocolate. I won't object to that. I was the first person that I think to point that out. I wanted the absolute first. I even done a 40-minute video about it, where their world comes from a flat plane. So I'm not
Where did the illegal aliens come from?
Oh, I see. So the timing's only right when you can take credit for doing it 2 weeks ago. I see the game here. I see what's going on, John, if you're listening. I know what they're all up to. Got my eye on all of you. This will be copyright by me, not John. Refracted curvature.
I was just going to say, in addition to the, you say that people think that there is soil in the sky. There's also people that think underneath their feet, past the ground, there's more sky.
Well, Adam's going to hate me for saying this because we're going to probably rob his thunder. But it's pretty hypocritical of them to talk about the Drake equation and these other lands with these other people out past the point that they can't go to, when that was the very starting point when it came to flat earthers, talking about other lands past Antarctica, the Antarctic ice wall, and other people that we don't know of. I mean, that was a joke then to those people. But dead serious now when they're talking about heliocentrism.
So what you're saying is, their reaction is, you're saying there's more land out where they found more land because a guy who's government based and an admiral said there was more land out where they found more land? Don't be silly. The land's up there in the sky, you stupid idiot.
Yes.
That wasn't the point I was going to make. Nathan, I couldn't remember it. He is the Drake equation, but that's what he's citing as his evidence, his proof. That's why I pulled it up. There is no evidence of proof. It's just some stoned physicist, astrophysicist, who sat down one day with this lot. Dude, what can we make up? Right, there's got to be electromagnetic emissions detectable, yeah? They've just made up a load of nonsense shit based on their fundamental beliefs in a heliocentric model and thought of ways in which it would be possible. How can they know? We've got to have a planet. Yeah, we have to have a planet. Tick. Got to have actual life. Got to be intelligent. Got to, yeah. They've put this, like I say, just wish list together that could have more factors because it's just made up. Yeah. And then this gets pimped around and suddenly the Drake equation, holding my fingers up in italics, is pimped as evidence. It's just some made up waffle.
We've cited it,
I guess. He will cite.
Well, he didn't. I did. I mean, I got it wrong the first time I guessed.
For him. He didn't know it.
I didn't know it was Drake. I was guessing then. I mean, it was lucky I got it right.
On at least a couple.
There's nothing substantive in this other than just a load of science fiction waffle. Yeah? It's just a load of presuppositions based on an assumption of a heliocentric model and say fundamentally underwritten in science fiction. Yeah, there's nothing physics this is coming from. Look at the parameters. This is obviously
That's not true. You're gonna need a flat Earth for that Drake equation. True. See,
Yeah,
Brian did say this 2
go on,
weeks ago.
Nathan.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say something in a minute. Go on.
Well, the fact that you will put the world in a motion of orbits around the sun in a heliocentric model to then infer that the number of planets in our orbital motion based heliocentric system would infer that it's one of those old heliocentric, there's such a small probability of it being true that it can't not be true, therefore there's a very slim possibility it is true, therefore it is true. They kind of take that, it's so small a number even in the Drake equation, but then when you go, but there is a chance, so there is a chance, therefore there can't not be aliens. That's kind of how the Drake equation works from my vague recollection of it.
But none of that is based on evidence.
It's mathematicized into existence.
None of these factors are substantial. Not even the term planet is actually substantiable. Yeah, the term Milky Way, all of these things, everything is science fiction. Yet it's pimped as astrophysics. Even there isn't none.
Yeah, you can just say if every light in the sky is a grain of sand, and there's an infinite number of lights in the sky, then eventually you're going to have enough for a sandcastle. Well, it's unlikely that the lights in the sky being grains of sand are going to form sandcastles. But unlikely, there's a small possibility that they could. Therefore, there's a high likelihood that we're going to eventually have a night twinkling sky-based sandcastle. It's only reasonable to extrapolate.
Yeah, because our star would be all the how many of those are silica-based bits of grain that to make the sand. FP is how do they agglomerate? They have to agglomerate in an intelligent way. They have to form structures. They then have to form windows. What's the probabilities of all of those? And this is now the Oakley equation for the sky as a sandcastle. It's just as valid.
No, it's not the Oakley equation.
Nathan,
I completely stole functional sequence specified complexity and worked it into an example in this case. But you can call it I mean, technically it is copyright mine anyway. I mean, it's not really functional sequence specified complexity. Let's be honest. It's mine.
Oakley equation. Yeah.
Oakley
Are
equation.
you saying that the sky is South Beach?
Look, with enough time,
Venus
Brian,
Beach.
there's a very small...
Venus Beach.
I'm saying with enough time, there's a very small possibility that eventually the night sky will form a sandcastle. And I'm not just talking about, like, in lights. I mean, an actual sandcastle. More
So
possibility.
Venus Beach.
Somewhere it exists out there in the night sky.
Venus Beach. You're going to address that joke. I don't
Look,
care.
I'm leaving these Easter eggs in this for this Evo tard.
Venus Beach.
For you're telling me off for cutting him off with you're going to need a flat Earth for it, and fine. But you're not picking up on these little jabs that I'm putting in for the Evo tard that he's not going to understand, and I'm just snickering to myself about that fact. But I'll drop them in anyway because you're not objecting to them.
Of those planets.
Venus Beach.
At the very
Venus. Oh my god.
least. So if there's all of a sudden a major discovery
Oh god, I'm gonna get the reaction 2 or 3 times now as the penny drops.
of an ice wall and life outside of the ice wall, that'd be huge, because then there's new life and new places on Earth itself. Not even just light years away, on Earth itself. But that's
Not just light years away. What? Not just the masses of soil in the sky. What? But also,
Nice.
like recorded in history, we found new worlds. Shocking, isn't it? How he
He's-
juxtaposes it with the absolute fact and certitude of the soil in the sky. Love it.
He's on a pizza dish, mate, still in space. Listen to what he's describing. He's imagining flat Earth, but it's a big pizza dish with extra lands past the ice wall that surrounds us in a heliocentric space. He's trying, but he can't get past his paradigm. Can't imagine what we're trying to describe to him, or not describing to him. He's still keeping it in that heliocentric that we're now flat. That's all it.
Oh, he's saying we're a disc in space?
He's still saying the stars are light years away. He's still talking, yeah? Listen to his language. He's not He's not stepping out off of his ball, really.
What we're discovering is that this guy, and that's probably why the empaths of the panel want me to not remove his head, is because he's at the fork in the road, isn't he? On one path, anti-flat earthism. On the other path, flat earthism. And both look pretty crap when you're at that fork in the road. So when he's holding his head in his hands, it's because he's come across a piece of information that he really probably would have been better off not finding out about. And now he's got to grapple with it. And in his language, he's talking about the contemplation that is beyond his ability, obviously, of a flat earth that still exists within certain things that are die-hard paradigms for him. And he can't relinquish them. He's nowhere near along that journey. But at this point of that journey he is on now, he's got a choice to make. Rebel against the flat earth and the obvious nature of the measurable earth we stand upon, or just accept it. You know, but it means relinquishing all your beliefs, which is all he's babbled on about, let's be honest.
Yeah, but what I'd like to talk about is the fact that I was the first person to point out the globe came from a flat plane, as I went through a 40-minute detailing video of where the radius comes from.
We got that. Now we all know when the timing's right. Brian wants all the credit.
You should already be subscribed. And how Nathan did address that, and he didn't deny it, but it wasn't until John Shelton refracted curvature started saying you're going to get flat out for that, pointing to orbits and things like that. Then suddenly Nathan was all over it.
You're 100% right,
It's obvious discrimination. It's because I'm Irish or something.
We get told off when we bring it up too soon, but the moment the timing's correct, suddenly it's all, I was the one to tell Nathan about this back in the day before John. Outrageous. Anyway, we will find the timing for you will need a flat earth for that, and it'll be inserted at the correct moment so that it's devastating and effective. And if it's not, I relish the criticism of John.
Like we've had two already.
That's crazy.
We've had the gyroscope when he referenced planes. Yeah, so that's the first point when we bring up a flat plane, what it's referencing. Yeah, and then the second point was when the telescope came up and we could crowbar in Hubble, but we were going to reference. And John had the best point there. How do you set up an expensive telescope? What's the first thing you got to do? You got to level that device. Yeah. So there's two opportunities, I think, to have brought it in already.
I'm glad they met your approval.
Well, just
I didn't.
I'm not sure what's going off exactly. There seems to be this desire to use it at every opportunity, as opposed to a straw man that we don't ever want to use it. Certain other people. I say it's horses for courses for me.
I just want to put every argument to the most effective use at the right moment, always. And by having a new argument, you've got to say, well, let's just throw it in where it seems appropriate. And if it isn't, we, amongst ourselves, we're pretty keen to critique each other and make sure that we're all as sharp as we possibly can be. But it does take somebody to throw it out in excess, let's just say, for someone to go, oh, whoa, in this particular scenario, no. Now, it does seem like you're being a bit overly fastidious in that regard, but that's fine.
Kind of like the way we used to say, you're going to need R for that.
Yeah, initially there would have been people throwing that out, and we used the example the other day, Chocolate, with the scientific method and Spurs. I'm sure you remember.
Yeah, and where did they get R from?
Yeah, you're going to need a flat earth for that.
You will need a flat earth for that R value.
Exactly. I did get on my channel, a 40-minute video.
That's right, Brian did cover that at least 2 weeks ago.
I know, that's why I know it, honestly. Yeah, but that's where you use it. That's where it, boom, slap. That's the right point to use it. Somebody says, you're going to need a flat earth for that, mate. That's where it's used. That's where it's really effective.
To me, it's crazy.
Doesn't want to use it that way.
A view of Earth. There is no ice wall that we see on Earth. Why have we not been there yet? I just. What's the point of hiding it? I don't understand.
Sorry, that's wrong. You will see an ice wall somewhere because there is actual video of an ice wall. I don't know where it is, but it's been shown.
Yeah, it's just
video, and it's not like recent.
Let's make that distinction. You can easily find southern ice shelves that look like walls that extend for a significant distance. However, it is a far cry to say that there is a wall of ice versus an entire ring that's 74,000 miles in circumference that surrounds the entirety of the known world. But when he says ice wall, I know what he is referring to. He's referring to the Feast of Nonsense assertion when he goes to the Gleasons and says, this is an ice wall. I think it's something like 74 or 78,000 miles in circumference that surrounds everything. That's what they say Antarctica is, because that's how it appears on the azimuthal equidistant projection. No other reason.
Yeah, well, I just want to clear this up, so we don't go into absolute absurdity with it. Right. Besides the fact that you can see somewhere, I don't know where it is, but just maybe it's south, maybe it is Antarctica, maybe that is a place. I don't know. But I have seen this, right, on video back in the 80s, 70s. I have seen it. BBC had it, right? Blah, blah, blah. Now, there may actually be an ice wall surrounding us. I don't know that there is or isn't, but I know this much. This is the only point that I need to make concerning it. There needs to be solid containment, because we have liquid water oceans. So something is containing them. That's all I need, the only point that needs to be made. I know that's an old point, but it needs to be made if this guy is to listen to this. And that containment might actually be an ice wall. I don't know.
Might not be. You've got absolutely zero evidence to assert anything in that regard. You don't know. Now, while it is easy to infer containment, because it's an antecedent-consequent relationship, same as the sky, we must have containment to have gas pressure. You can use the same argument. But your inference, you very quickly step over that line when you start saying, and it could be an ice. Whoa. You don't know what the sky is. You don't know what the extremities are. What you do know is they keep finding more land with more oceans and more land beyond that. That's all you know.
Yeah, but the containment could be an ice wall. I don't know if it is.
It could be nothing but McDonald's nuggets all made into a wall. It could be. We just don't know that it isn't nuggets. We don't know that it isn't nuggets, do we, Brian? Hold on, I need to stress this. It's important. We don't know that it isn't chicken nuggets. Do we know that it isn't chicken nuggets?
Hang on, you're missing the point. I said there needs to be solid containment, and that solid containment could be an ice wall. I don't know if it is, but
That's correct.
Do know that there needs to be...
The containment could be a blancmange. It could be. We just don't know.
Hang on. There needs to be solid containment, right? Ice is a solid, right? My point is, I can't say that there isn't an ice wall.
No, don't. There's an inference when you suggest that you don't know it isn't an ice wall. It's like saying, I don't know that the guy didn't fart. So you suggesting
the only claim I made was that there needs to be solid containment. That's my claim.
Yeah, I know, but in a room full of people... In a room full of 5 people, your solid containment transposes somebody must have produced the fart. I'm not saying it's Bob. I'm not saying it isn't Bob. We don't know that it is or isn't Bob. That's what you're doing when you say ice wall.
I'm not. I'm saying I don't know what it is, but I'm open to it being an ice wall because ice is a solid.
There it is. See, you heard it. He said he's open to it. That's the reality. Brian's just open. He just likes the fantasy.
Brian!
Open to the idea. Suggestible is what I would call it.
You damn open-minded Irishman.
Every government in the world would collectively hide this information. I can make up a theory.
It's a simple appeal to consensus fallacy.
Outside of the ice wall are big dragons. Okay? Now, when dragons get the scent of humans, they'll...
He's got this from the Mappa Mundi. So on the Mappa Mundi, on the outside extremities, you've got all these goblins and monsters. I saw it up close and personal. Got to study it with Martin Liedtke. I don't know what to say. What is my only... Okay.
Fly over the ice wall and attack the world. That being said, the governments across the world
Game of Thrones.
Yes, Game of Thrones, right.
This information so that no clumsy travelers climb the ice wall, lure the dragons over the wall, and wreak havoc.
Is this just some guy in a mix his own fantasy? This guy's he's already on the anti-flat Earth path. What bullshit can I make to make this make sense in my mind? Well, I take a bit of this and a bit of that, and it all makes sense.
Havoc all over the world as we know it. I actually fucking believe that myself now. I've just convinced myself that there's an ice wall now.
Yeah, I just pointed that out, that's how you were processing this, yes. It was embarrassing when you have someone else point it out, and then you affirm that that's exactly correct.
Shit, I want dragons to be real. Of course I want dragons to be.
Yeah, we know. That's why I just pointed it out and you affirmed it. It's really, really epic for my audience, not yours.
Be real. Yeah, they're probably going to be, you know, very disruptive and obviously not friendly, but I mean, imagine seeing a dragon flying in the sky. That would be very cool.
You're a fantasist, my friend. You have a religious belief that you're questioning other people in their belief of your belief, and now you're explaining why you process it in this way because you're a fantasist. Okay.
Cool. Plus, I think we have the technology to shoot down a dragon at this point anyway. But whether we're talking about the ice wall theory or the flat earth theory, my reasons for not believing them are fairly similar. Pictures of Earth, I believe, are real because it's not really that hard to believe.
There's that word again. Your belief in pictures coming from second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuums that would leave us with no pressure developed in the first instance, no life to take pictures with. It's absurd. But you believe it. Okay, good for you. You believe in there's lots of soil in the sky and Drake equations, and therefore there must be aliens in the sky, on the soil. Okay, gotcha.
Believe. And number two, we can see things in the sky. We can look into the sky with telescopes or cameras.
Yeah, so if I affirm the consequent that you can prove unicorns, those little twinkling lights are unicorns, and look up at the sky, you can see that there's twinkling lights, therefore unicorns. Yeah, that's an affirming the consequent fallacy there, isn't it? You believe that they're soil and rocks. Okay, why? Because you can look at them. Yeah, I could look at them without thinking that they were rocks and soil.
Cameras or just anything, and see what's out there.
Lights, twinkling lights. Go on, Brian.
You can't prove they're not rocks and soil.
Okay.
Okay, like, you can't prove the containment is not an ice wall.
I knew you were going there. I was just waiting for it. I wasn't even going to dignify it. You leave that hanging out for yourself, my friend.
To a certain degree. And there are some more specific reasons.
Perfect. Yeah, I was waiting for you, actually, QE. Yeah, it is just a straight up argument for ignorance that Brian just used. But to simplify his example, right? To simplify his example, that's what he's doing.
I don't believe the ice wall theory regarding the ice wall itself. Like, again, it not really being there on a map. And two, why can't we
The troubling part is you believe the ice wall is a theory. So that's the really troubling part, you retard. Why are we going through this?
Wait, be gentle with him. Gentle. He's at a very important crossroads in his life. QE, have you no empathy?
He sounds learned. I mean, we can look up in the sky. We can see the sky. Don't y'all get it? Move on.
Nathan take the piss out of Adam there.
I don't understand the notion of him saying he doesn't believe in the ice wall because it's not on a map. How many different maps are there?
He played a little video documentary that alluded to the idea that the outside edge, which looks like an ice wall on the map that he had in his own video, was proof that there was an ice wall that looked like the ice wall on the map, where the map says the ice wall is. Now he's saying, well, I fail to believe it because there's none on the map. I think the guy is genuinely retarded, like actually stupid, because there's no other explanation that he could sit in front of a video editing it with a picture of a map with an ice wall on it and go, I don't believe it because there's no maps with ice walls. Doesn't that strike you as just straight up stupid?
I mean, but by that respect, then all you'd have to do to get him to believe in the ice wall is to show him a map with the ice wall on it.
Hey, maybe the one in his own video would do the trick then.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah, it wouldn't do the trick for me, though, for all the reasons we've detailed, but we won't reiterate again. We're nearly at the end of his video.
go there and fly over it already. You know, like, what's the point? Like, there might be an ice wall in Antarctica.
I don't believe it. I can't believe it. There definitely isn't. There isn't any maps of them, notwithstanding the ones in my own video that showed them on maps. But there could be an ice wall. What the hell?
If there's an ice wall, it could be flat.
What he's doing is he's choking on the feast of nonsense, isn't he? That's what's actually happening here.
No, I tell you what he's demonstrating is in his cognition. What are his pillars? Listen to what's holding it all together. Listen how little it takes to shake his world. Well, if there could be an ice wall, I've seen. Well, it might be flat. He's got very little holding his foundational. What his foundational support for his ball is. So much so that he's wobbling on this. Oh, I've seen ice. Ice exists. Somebody said it's on a wall. Yeah, but I can't believe that. He doesn't know where he is on such very little things. He'd really see his arse if he presented gas pressure without a container. He'd pop.
You sound like Joe Biden right now.
I don't know. I think the guy might be interested in my Allied Dragon alignment program that I've got going on. It needs some funding, and you know, I don't know if this guy might be keen for it.
Yeah,
my dragon research. I've got some
point.
very serious dragon research. And, you know, I'm not looking for vulnerable people and gullible people or anything, but, you know, that dragon research does need funding. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Anyway, Adam's making an excellent point because it brings me to a point that I'm also being inspired to because of Adam. It's just a realization, actually, right? We'll get back to the dragon research, Nathan.
No, I'm not saying there isn't dragons.
If you're saying they aren't, then I'm in.
Look, this guy's halfway to being convinced there are dragons, right? And I reckon with a little tiny prod, some charlatan could convince him of the truth of dragons.
Well, the point I was going to make is, if you look at how flimsy the Feast of Nonsense is, yes, that took and does continue to take people straight away from the globe. Just shows how nothing that the globe has when the Feast of Nonsense trumps it, time after time.
Hey, don't be knocking the Feast of Nonsense. That's a carefully constructed dish or feast. It is. You don't be knocking it.
It is.
You know, they've got you straight onto that diet once you get here, and man, it poisons so many. So many still have that poison coursing through their veins, some of them calling us scammers for calling them out on it.
That you can see with your own eyes. But what happens if you scale it, you go over it, and it's just hundreds of miles of ice, and it just turns out you're in Antarctica? But like I said, if you are an ice waller, if you're a flat earther, you can let me know down below, and you can tell me the facts or what you believe are the facts. Feel free to correct me.
No, we don't. Not what we believe the facts are. No. We know how Earth has been measured flat. And your globe claims are derived from those flat Earth measurements. Those are the facts. They're not what we believe. You're being educated in how your belief of a globe to stand on is derived from flat Earth measurements. That's what we're telling you, as opposed to informing you of our beliefs. Go ahead, QE.
Yes, and the final message to him is piss off, you retard. How about that?
Gently. This is a man on the cusp of greatness in his flat Earth journey, and you're not coddling him. What's your malfunction?
He's a retard. Then we can move on. I know it's going to be hard to get in here. And then we can move on to something a little bit more insidious.
Do you not know the story of the Good Samaritan?
The horse's ass. I wasn't done yet. The horse's ass of a fiasco that just happened. What is today? Tuesday?
Monday.
No, today's Monday. When was that horse's ass of a fiasco?
This guy.
Was it Saturday?
Nobody knows what you're talking about. You've got to give this more context so we all follow along with what you're...
I'll give you some more context. The flat earther, I think, Dean Odell.
Yeah, we spoke about that this morning.
Oh, you did?
Extensively,
At the
yes.
end of the show when he was in bed.
It's extensively.
None of us saw it.
We even involved Paula from the chat at the beginning of the live show over it. But feel free.
I don't want. I figured that video would be up because I want to see. I want to see the flat earther, allegedly, proving his flat Earth model, his flat Earth theory, the government documents that confirm ether, the ether and all the ether experiments. That's what I want.
Ether.
Wow, we didn't know any of that.
Huey, he's literally 2 blocks away from me. I can actually go pay him a visit.
No, don't do that.
He needs to understand what the feast of nonsense is and what real freaking arguments are.
That's correct.
Doesn't need to
And
do anything.
you, the audience, can help Mr. Oodle Doodle with that by sharing the show far and wide.
Oodle doodle. I'm going to see Dean Odell, whatever his name is. Sounds like Nodell, and in relation to Bob, it makes me freaking cringe.
So what are you,
Did you-
Russian vids?
Did anyone watch? Now, I didn't watch the whole thing. I heard about the end of the fiasco, but I did watch just a little bit. Right?
No.
When
No.
they were on stage, the two of them. Yeah.
But
Did
was
you
it in a
did you
church?
happen to watch that?
In a church.
Well,
None
QE,
of
what it's all over the shorts, all over everywhere on shorts, because my wife was very upset that it's going on in the church and how flat Earth is causing a major division.
It's not that. It's you Christians. You just bloody hypocrites. Look at how they behave. Yeah. Got not what one of which of them can say that was Christian behavior, and to do it in a church.
Oh,
don't-
Christian behavior, Adam.
Don't
What's
put
Christian
subject
behavior?
matter-
We're sinners like everybody
We're
else.
going off.
No,
track
I'm
here.
saying you don't put the subject matter when it's the people that are to blame. Yeah, they're saying flat Earth's making these Christians behave unchristianly. No, they're unchristianly Christians. That's why they're behaving like that.
No, that's not
Blame the
true.
bloody
No,
top
there is an
matter.
entity known as Flat Earth, and it is sentient, and it does get into people and make them behave like that. Just accept it.
yeah, that's a completely other topic. That's another facet of what happened. I
The
don't want
Flat
to
Earth
even
Holy
get
Spirit?
into that business.
The Flat Earth Holy Spirit that gets into people and takes them over.
Did you hear what I said?
No, I was just trying to get a gag in about
Fuck, my damn mic is acting up again. That's a complete what Adam and all you guys are talking about. That's a completely other facet of the same train wreck of a disaster I've seen. I just want to deal with Dean Odell's comments concerning flat Earth. I want to see the flat Earth theory. I want to see the flat Earth model. I want to see these ether documents from the government. I want him to demonstrate his ether. I want to see these experiments for the flat Earth of ether. I want to see the experiments for flat Earth. Odell.
Was there no
All the
criticism
other
of his
stuff, I understand.
no criticism of his globe Earth opponent?
Say again.
It just sounds so biased towards us critiquing Dean Odell, Reverend.
Yes, he needs critique.
What
Yes.
about the opponent?
I'm not concerned with that crayon munching opponent.
Me either.
The danger to flat earthers is flat earthers. QE's 100% right. The wrong people are disseminating the information. It should be us, not these morons.
I agree. You should be
Right.
you, Neil.
QE, there's nothing wrong with your mic. We heard everything. It just, we continually overtalked you.
It's me continually over talking you. Thank
That's
you,
all right.
Brian.
So did this pastor make all these claims, QE? Is that what the problem
Yes.
is? Like, did he?
Yes,
And
he
he's a
explicitly did, and then implicitly did when he didn't raise arms against what the crayon muncher told him that his beliefs were.
Fine, let's break this down just so it's reiterated in the strongest possible terms to match the disdain level of QE so that it has context for the audience. What we are talking about is a discussion between a globe Earth proponent who I think our general consensus view would be everything he said in respect to a globe can be debunked and would have been. However, the positive assertions that are being made by someone who represents us as a flat earther, Christian or otherwise, need to be scrutinized so that we aren't stereotyped, as we are anyway, with this notion of having scientific validity for ether. And I assume the guy has a bit of a speech impediment because it's being pronounced ether. Nevertheless, he hasn't got any scientific validity for a counter space garbage that juxtaposes with gravity in the fourth dimension quite nicely, just so you know. He also doesn't have any models of a flat earth. But if you do, we'd like to see them, I think is QE's sentiment. And there was a third. QE, what was it?
Flat Earth theory.
Oh, flat earth theory. Right. So there's a lack of understanding of the scientific method and the genre we are in when we discuss the nature of our world. The physical nature of reality. That would be physics. So when we're talking about flat earth theory, you're in a category error. There is no flat earth theory. That doesn't make sense.
Well, Dean had a PhD physicist there. Yeah.
Oh, his
What's he
opponent
gonna-
was a physicist. So what you're suggesting is, at the very least, is a globe earth believer or otherwise, the opponent as a physicist should have been able to point out these category errors to Dean Ogle.
No. PhD. Dean Ogle brought his own PhD in physics. He was out in the audience. He pointed them out. You haven't watched this video.
No, I haven't. No, I didn't
No,
suggest
none of
that I
us
had.
have watched it. I tried to tell you that, but everyone was over talking. I was trying to tell you about 3 different times, but Nathan wouldn't shut up about it. Blaming Nathan.
I never watch any of these videos. My only information is from what you guys tell me about what you've watched, unless we're actually watching it on the show. So people in the audience get to see the sum total of my flat earth content when I watch it with you. Beyond that, it's just what you tell me.
But I must point out something here that we need to address about this, right? This is serious. This is not me making jokes. There is one major problem here. And that is...
Me as well down below if you feel like I'm...
right, don't. Right. We're dealing with two numpties, right? I don't care what their faith is. Two numpties who have beliefs. We're not dealing with beliefs. They are quantum field theory. We're quantum mechanics. That's the difference. These two numpties on some stage, right, or wherever, right, in a church, I don't care where it was, they're numpties with numpty ideas and numpty beliefs. We are not dealing with beliefs on this show and on QE Live or Ballbusters. We're dealing with what we know and what we don't know. That's what we're dealing with. These fellas are not dealing with that. That's the problem.
I'll be there in 2 minutes, and I'll put it on camera. We're going to address this Dean Ogle character live on YouTube.
Sorry, did I ruin the show with this?
No, you brought some light to the show.
Is he an old fella?
Yeah.
Is that an old school name?
Who?
Dean
Ogle?
Ogle?
Yeah, he's been around for a while. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Been around for a while.
Lining up my camera and everything, right?
Been around for a while. Thanks.
Yeah, I don't need that.
You're welcome.
Just when I'm lining up all my camera and getting everything on set, I thought I'll transition just to show me and my disdain while you waffle your way through the fact that you're about to go on someone's doorstep and potentially commit a felony or something. No. Please don't do this.
I'm just going to ask him what his problem is.
Oh my God! Please don't do this on my show. Well, I'm gonna cut the live stream at this point. I think this is definitely not going to make it out live. Right.
Don't do it, Ian. Don't do it.
No, while they all talk him out of it, I'll say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you for tuning in live, smashing the super chat and all that good stuff. If you're watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming Streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. But unfortunately, if you are watching live, this is where we bid you farewell. So thanks again to both Discord and G+ panels for making the live show possible, and to you for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
what a lovely day.